Okay, welcome to this edition of Huge Movie Fanatics Radio for March 18th, 2021 on a beautiful spring day. It's probably going to get maybe up to 49 in my neck of the woods in Minnesota today. It's probably 45 or 46, nothing but sun out there. So lucky me. If this show doesn't go incredibly long, I may get out in some of the sun today. Matt's already here. He says, "Yo, what's up? How's your sleep schedule these days, Matt?" Matt says, "I was up late watching Snyder Cut." Okay, is it everything you'd hoped for? No, he says, "I didn't finish watching it yet. It's 4 hours long." Laugh out loud. Yeah, that's true. It'll be interesting to see how many people show up this week, if it's even lower turnout than last week. But we got to keep in mind that most people obviously listen after the fact. So just because people don't show up while it's going on doesn't necessarily make it a loss. That's me trying to make my dwindling live listeners numbers seem not as bad as it is. Matt says, "Yeah, I like it. I don't think it needed to be 4 hours long, but I guess since it's on streaming, it doesn't matter." Yeah, you can have a movie be 12 hours long. I guess on streaming, people will watch some, go away, watch some, go away, maybe come back to it, watch some more. So that's true. Obviously, you're probably not going to put out a 4-hour cut of a movie in a movie theater. Well, glad to hear you like it so far. Yeah, on blue-ray.com, there was a review of it, and I think they gave it like 7 out of 10 stars or something, which is surprising for a superhero movie or a DC superhero movie. I guess since you're kind of into Snyder Cut, what are your thoughts on the upcoming movie, The Batman? Any thoughts on that at all, Matt? Matt says DC movies are much more mature in theme. Matt says, "Oh, it looks good," referring to The Batman. One thing I like about the title is I think when the character was first created, I mean, that in the Bob Kane books, I think that was pretty much, the title of the comic books, wasn't it? The Batman. It just seems like something old-fashioned. So if that's the case, I like the fact that that title harkens back to the beginning of, if it isn't the beginning of the Batman comics, it sounds like it, The Batman. Matt says, "I wish they would have made a Ben Affleck Batman movie." Yeah, that's true. He never had a standalone movie, did he? He says, "But the trailer impressed me." I'm assuming he's referring to the trailer for The Batman. I'm seeing 2 listeners. I'm of the opinion, having done this now for several times, that because when I do tests, more oftentimes than not, a 1 appears. So I can only assume YouTube puts a 1 in there regardless, just to keep people kind of a feel-good number to keep people streaming if no one's really there. So I don't know if that means I should deduct 1 from the number in here, which would mean probably just Matt. I mean, obviously Matt's here, we know that, but my people counter says 2. So it's very possible that it's just a feel-good 1 and Matt being number 2. Not that, well, if it makes you feel any better, you can be number 1, Matt, and the feel-good can be number 2. Matt says, "Yeah, I think YouTube puts a 1 in there regardless." Yeah, that's what I think. He says, "That's how it was on my stream. I think they count you as a viewer in the stream. It's very possible. I like to think of it as a feel good number, just to make you think that someone's out there listening, but it probably does mean you. But the funny thing is, when I do tests and stuff, it'll appear and then it'll go away sometimes, and then it comes back. So it's just like it's a mystery. So definitely a mystery. Matt says, yeah, all your viewers type in the chat that I've seen. It's possible that the majority of people that show up to listen do, in fact, interact. That's mostly why they're here, if they ever get here, or when they're here. Matt says, so it makes sense I'm the only one here now. Yeah, if it's just you and me, I'm probably not going to go for 2 hours. Matt says, yeah, you might have better luck next week to start at 8 p.m. like you said. Well, yeah, I think I said 9 p.m., but 9, 8, what the hell, it's pretty much the same. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure when I'm going to do the transition. It might be soon here. The only problem is I've got like 2 or 3 listeners from the UK, and if the only problem is if I do a show starting at 9, 8 or 9, I mean, that's like freaking 2 or 3 in the morning for them, and that kind of leaves them out of the equation, which is kind of a bummer. I see a hitchhiker, thank you very much. I see 3, which would mean there's possibly 2 listeners. But yeah, I'm seeing a 4. Welcome everyone. I'll probably try I don't know what to do in the warm weather months. I kind of, part of me is like, just leave you guys cold turkey until October. Just abandon the show until October and let you guys suffer. But on the other hand, it's kind of fun to do. I mean, like, last week's show, even though it was a really low live turnout, the listens after the fact, like a week later, is like up to 60, which for me is pretty good. So, I mean, I have to stop thinking about it in just terms of people that show up during it, because people listen after the fact, when they're driving around, when they're doing whatever, when they're choking the chicken, when they're strangling the salami. Well, hopefully people aren't listening when they're doing that. Mr. Tight White shows up. He says, hey, what's up, dudes? Not much. We're just waiting for everyone to show up so we can really start chatting. Matt says, they are showing up now. Yeah, they're flooding in. Oh, wow, Fake Champ. Okay, welcome, Fake Champ. I guess you're right. They are flooding in now. Matt says, just experiment with the show times. I hear you. I agree. Get to know your audience times. Fake Champ says, Pinhead Nate, make us suffer. Yeah. I'll tear your radio show apart. This isn't for your ears. Matt says, if you show up at 9 p.m., you might have a whole new set of people that might show up due to their schedule. You never know. That's true. But back when I did the tests, the first shows, and I just did it unannounced, the second show I did was, I think, starting at 10 or 11, and I think I only had one person show up. But you're right. You just have to kind of experiment with it and stuff like that. So that's probably what I'll do. I don't know if it's going to start next week or the week after. It's going to start soon here because the weather, I think, is getting nicer and nicer. Fake Taboo's crying tears of laughter. Matt says, I would imagine at 1 p.m. on a Wednesday, is probably not even a good time to stream since a lot of people still have to work. Yeah. Oh, he said on a weekday. Yeah. Matt says, if I had to guess, 6 p.m. your time would be a golden time. Yeah, you never know. Maybe even 5 p.m., he says. Yeah, like you say, it's just have to test the waters, I guess. But maybe during the warm months, starting at 9 or something is better. We'll see. Fake Shemp says, any fans of Vincent Price? Was watching Tomb of, I can't even pronounce this title, Ligeia yesterday. I think someone has asked me in a past show if I like Vincent Price. Maybe it was you. And I responded with, yeah, he's okay. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan in the world. Things I've seen him in, like, things I own, like, I've got the 3D Blu-ray of House of Wax. And, of course, he's in The Fly and House on Haunted Hill and so many other movies. But, I mean, what I've seen him in, he's good. And, when he was younger, he had that classic voice, which was perfect for, like, more macabre movies, if you will, Fake Shep's Taboo says, did you have a good St. Patty's Joy? Or did you have a good St. Patty's Day? Enjoy some corned beef and Guinness. Yeah, I mean, corporate holidays don't exist to me. I didn't even know that it was here, to be honest. And I don't drink. I don't drink alcohol. But that's okay. Yeah, corporate holidays don't exist to me. So I guess not to take away from your festivities. I hope you enjoyed the corporate holiday. Matt says, "Did you get your $400 check yet?" No. Matt says, "I only celebrate Halloween anymore." Yeah, that's like, if there's going to be any corporate holiday, that's kind of probably, for us horror fans, probably the best one if we had to pick one, I guess. The thing I will say about Christmas time is I do like Christmas lights. I do like the lights. So that's one good thing I can say about that time of year, especially for people like me in climates that get all freaking frigidly cold. The lights I think kind of help, shine some light on the bitter cold death of summer. Matt says, I used to celebrate 4th of July when this country still seemed to have at least the front of freedom left. Now 4th of July seems like a fucking joke and a disgrace to celebrate, especially now. Yeah, that's true. I'll save that for the closer to the 4th of July. Fake Shemp Taboo says, Tomb of Lagilia is so good. My favorite feel-good gothic film. If that's not too much of an oxymoron, yeah, it kind of is. But that's cool. I'm not the biggest gothic genre fan, but that's okay. Okay, Howard says, damned Masons with their you know what. I don't know if we've seen Howard in the chat before. Welcome. Matt says the best 4th of July this year would be people in mass burning the thingamajigs. Yeah, that's true. Howard says, first time here. Well, welcome. Is that Toronto? Are you in Canada? I don't know if Fake Shemp's still here. We were up to 6 and now we're down to 4. If he is, I wanted to ask him if he heard my outro after the fact. In last week's show, I did my best at singing without any freaking music accompaniment, Dark Side of the Forest. Yeah, Howard says, yep, Canada. I'm in Minnesota, so somewhere in Minnesota. Still here, still with us, Fake Shep? Maybe I pissed him off by not being a... There he is. He says, dang, Nate, I didn't laugh out loud. Check it out later today, though. Okay, yeah. Because it was, I think last week was on Tuesday, it was the re-release on Blu-ray of The Forest, so I celebrated by ending the show by singing Dark Side of the Forest, one of the songs from The Forest. See, the thing that's perfect about the Madman Mars song is it, in the movie, there's no musical accompaniment that really goes with it because it's a singing around the campfire song. But other things like, songs from movies and stuff like that, from goofy horror movies, there's a lot of times it's supposed to be musical accompaniment that goes with it. So that's why the Madman Mars song was just perfect to sing with no accompaniment, because it's really not meant to be. So anything else that's supposed to have accompaniment with it just sounds goofy when I'm singing it without it, but that's okay. I don't think any of you mind. Fake Shemp says, yes, laugh out loud. Yes, I'm leaving. He's pissed that I haven't heard of that movie he likes. I'm glad I'm glad you like it. Tomb of, maybe it's Lygia. Is it Lygia? Fake Shemp asks, how's your week been? It's been okay. I've got a listing here. I think it goes with your question of things that I've watched in the past week. I've been generally doing this for the last couple weeks. So I guess the first thing I'll really mention is news that I'm kind of a week late at saying this. For anyone who knows anything about Bill Rebane movies like Giant Spider Invasion and Rana, Legend of Shadow Lake and stuff, it doesn't include that movie into this collection, but Arrow Video is going to actually be releasing a Bill Rebane collection, which was really, really surprising, which is going to include Monster A Go-Go, Invasion from Inner Earth, The Alpha Incident, The Demons of Ludlow, The Game, and Twister's Revenge. And I've reviewed Invasion from Inner Earth on this channel, and I've seen, I'm familiar with Alpha Incident. I don't think I've seen anything else on here, and I was really bummed out that, it doesn't have like two of his best movies, which is, I would consider to be, Capture of Bigfoot and Rana, Legend of Shadow Lake. But, I think Troma owns the rights to Rana, and obviously someone else probably owns the rights to Capture of Bigfoot. But I'm interested in seeing a new scan of hopefully a complete version of Alpha Incident. So that's kind of cool. Let me get into some of this other stuff I watched. I found out in the past week since the last show that there's the HD Blu-ray scan of Sorority House Massacre on Tubi TV if anyone wants to check it out. I mean, the Blu-ray's out of print and going for $40-50 on eBay, and you can see the Blu-ray transfer for free on Tubi TV, and that's really fun. I watched for the first time since the last show Doom Asylum on Tubi TV, and it was one of the worst movies I ever have seen. I mean, it makes Don't Go in the Woods look like Citizen Kane. I mean, holy shit. Doom Asylum might be the worst movie I can remember ever seeing. Hot women, but that's it. A lot of people have suggested in shows past that I watch Body Count. I was able to see that for free on Amazon Prime, and I like the ambience to it and stuff, but I found that to be kind of underwhelming. So it wasn't nearly as bad as Doom Asylum. But body count was okay, nothing crazy amazing. I checked out some of CB Hustlers on Prime Video. That's a movie made by the gang who made Drive-In Massacre. And CB Hustlers is just beyond crap. I couldn't even finish it. I mean, I don't know if I plan to try to finish it or not, but CB Hustlers is crap. Just basically a softcore porno, more or less. And there's also, for anyone who hasn't seen Joysticks, the movie from the early 80s about, you know, tits and video games. It's actually the HD Blu-ray scan is at least last time I checked is free on tubitv.com. So those are some of the updates I've got for the past week since the last show. And now I'm a little bit behind on chat, but since not many people are here, I'm not that behind. Matt says, yeah, I had a decent amount of views after my live stream. I wasn't expecting. Yeah, just because people don't show up during the stream doesn't mean people aren't going to, you know, watch / you know, and or listen to it after the fact. So you got to keep that in mind as well. So Howard asks, what do you think of, well, I'll just replace some words that might be bad. Just evil Hollywood and how they hide the truth in plain sight. I mean, see more truth in cartoons than mainstream shows. Yeah, that's something that, you know, yeah, I don't know if I want to talk so much about this stuff because, you know, I don't want to jeopardize the channel, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely happening, isn't it? There's a lot of things behind the scenes going on. Hollywood and you know, Disney and all these companies aren't the fluffy, cute little situation that people would like to think it is. Fake Shemp says, nice, never seen or heard, never even heard of those. I'll have to check out the trailers. Yeah, well, like I say, I'd steer clear of what the hell is it called? Doom Asylum. Holy shit! Unless you want to see what huge movie fanatic Nate regards as might be the worst movie he's ever seen. It's a movie that tries too hard to be funny, so it tries so hard to be funny, it's annoying. Like painfully annoying to watch because it's trying so hard to be cute and stuff. Jose Gomez says, hello, Nate. What's up? Fake Shemp says, oh my God, Joysticks on Tubi. Thanks for the heads up. Yeah, and from what I can tell, it's the HD Blu-ray scan. So check it out before it goes away. I'm assuming Tubi, just like other streaming platforms, you know, things don't last forever. I think they've got a really convenient, you know, leaving soon page, so to keep a heads up on or whatever. But yeah, definitely check out the HD scan of Joysticks on Tubi. And for anyone who's never seen Sorority House Massacre, that HD scan of that is on there as well. That was really fun to be able to see it without paying 40 or 50 bucks for the Blu-ray. But to be honest, now that I saw it, I kind of feel like paying 40 bucks for the Blu-ray. I kind of feel like I should have that on Blu-ray because while it's not a great movie, it's something from my childhood and teen years and stuff. Fake Shemp says, yeah, I've never seen Doom Asylum, but I remember staring at the DVD cover at Target. Definitely stood out. They had the DVD of Doom Asylum at Target. And it wouldn't be, you know, Jose Gomez likes to just basically write movie titles and the year after it. So he says Hellraiser 3, 1992. Yep, that's when it came out. Me and a buddy, actually me and my mom took my buddy and I to actually go see it in the theater, Hellraiser 3. And then when it ended up coming out on home video, we skipped school and rode our bikes to the video store to go rent it. Hellraiser 3. I don't know why they let us rent it because we were only 16, but I guess we looked old enough and mature enough to take it. Matt says, do you like your iPad? I was thinking of getting iPhone since I've only ever had Androids. You know what? I was kind of anti-Apple until way back in, when the hell did I get my first Apple device? I can regale you with my whole history of getting into Apple products from start to, well, I can't say finish, but from start until now. So it wasn't until I think it was '09 when they came out with that iPod Nano that had a video camera in it in the fall, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. So I got an iPod, my first Apple product, um, when they came out in '09 with their new iPod Nano with the camera. So I was kind of hooked. I really loved how, and it instantly was like, oh my God, this is the best MP3 player. I really liked how iTunes worked and all this and that and stuff like that. So that was my first introduction into that world and stuff. And then I ended up getting iPod. Then I thought, well, I should have got iPod Touch instead of Nano, but that one didn't have. I can't remember when they put the camera in iPod Touch, if it was the next year or whatever. But then I got iPod Touch and I was like, oh my God, this is really an amazing device. And that wasn't long until iPad came out. And I actually got, when the first iPad was the most recent one, I got the first iPad way back in whenever the hell it was. And that's been my main internet device ever since. It's just so great because you can just lay in bed and have it propped up and just, that's what I do during the winter, is lay in bed with the covers over me and just all day looking at iPad. So I would definitely recommend iPad for just interneting, you know. And like I say, even the entry level one, the cheap one, which I think is like $330 or whatever. Sometimes you can get it on sale or whatever. Last year I got I think it was the iPad 7 on sale for, I think it was it in May? It might have been in May. Best Buy had it on sale for $250. So I would definitely recommend, like, even just entry level iPad, just for basic email and internet and stuff. I love iPad. My mom actually got her first MacBook recently, and she was like, "Oh, you're gonna want one of these." And I don't know, for me, I guess just because my main Apple device situation has always been more or less touch screens and iPads and stuff, the MacBook doesn't impress me like iPad. I just love being able to just, operate it by touch screen. And, for me, iPad is just the internet device of choice. So that's I guess, I'm probably way behind on chat. Okay, so I'm now trying to catch up with chat. Yeah, and I got my first iPhone last, like January of in regards to iPhone, January of last year of 20, because I'd always done pay as you go, freaking cheap ass crap phone just to have for emergencies and stuff. And I just thought, my mom got an iPhone, her first iPhone, and I was just like, I should have an iPhone. And it's not a newer one because I wanted to get into iPhone cheapest possible. I've got a pay as you go iPhone, like a freaking old one last year, and I mean, I would recommend iPhone. My girlfriend's got Android, and I just love iOS and the operating system on iPads and iPhones and stuff. So I would recommend iPhone. I'm really kind of drooling, as much as I hate to say it, over iPhone 12 mini, because the big ones, like my mom's got an X or whatever, iPhone 10 or whatever the hell they call it, and that's just too big for me. So when they came out with the iPhone 12 mini, I'm like, oh wow, that's like perfect size for me. But I don't use the phone very much, so I plan on using this old one I got for a while. Okay. Now, trying to catch up with chat. Fake Shemp says, what do you think about cinema lifespan? I heard last week Alamo Drafthouse was declaring bankruptcy. I still like theaters, but maybe they need to go simple again, like no fancy leather chairs, etc. Yeah, isn't it something how just recently, even some of the big corporate ones that have been around for a while, a lot of them have redone their chairs and added this and that to keep people coming, and frickin', they'll deliver food, dinner to you and stuff. All this ridiculous crap, which to me, I think is just over the top crap. I mean, I was pissed when they had the added reclining seats and stuff. So, right after they add all this to all these, corporate theaters and stuff, then, theaters are going to close. It's really a clusterfuck, but that's the name of the game. It's really, I've got no idea. I've got no idea what the hell's going to happen in movie theaters. It all depends on how long they drag this horse shit out. I guess it's up in the air. I mean, fuck, I haven't been to a movie theater in a year now. And I was to the point where I don't really like new movies anyway, with a lot of you guys may already know. So, I mean, I don't really care. But for those that do, it's a bummer. Matt says, I saw a video of iPhone SE and someone rendering a video he edited so fast. Video he edited on the iPhone. Yeah, I love my iPod back in the day. He says, do you hook a keyboard to iPad? No, I've never done that, because basically I'd say 80 to 90%, or even more, 95% of my iPadding, if you will, is done in bed with it just propped up. I do the screen lock on, so the screen doesn't, so it's basically on its side. My head's on the pillow and the iPad's on its side with screen lock for, the vertical, for the, I don't know. It's the way when I view it where it's like a screen where it's going the long way sideways versus, the short ways up and down. And I do the screen lock and I just lay in bed and I use it mostly like that. So obviously the keyboard, doesn't really factor into laying in bed on a pillow and looking at it. So I've kind of thought about the keyboard thing, because the first iPad I ever got last year was the 7. I think that was the first one I got that allowed or had the capability to do the keyboard thing. I've thought about getting the cheapest one, but I think ultimately the typing, I've always been able to do the typing I want to do on this, the touch screen. So I've never invested in the keyboard. But yeah, I can imagine, even the iPhone SE is probably good enough. I mean, you probably don't even need to go the route of. But the thing is, you can get an iPhone 10 now for I think only $100 more than the SE. So you really want to make sure you check your options. I mean, because that home buttonless design of the iPhone 10 and beyond is so cool to me. So I think you can get an iPhone 10 for $500 versus $400 for the SE. Fake Shump says, at Matt, I love iPhone, Apple products. I switched for a whole year to Galaxy Note 8, but never could get the hang of it. So you might like the simplicity of Apple. I'm right with you. I just love the iPad and iPhone iOS. Matt says, at Fake Shump, I love the iPhone camera. Are you talking about still camera or video camera? I mean, they're both pretty good. Matt says, I'm looking at iPhone SE for $250. Oh, shit. Is that new or used? Damn. I can only assume that's used. Is that used? He says, oh my God, the Mini looks amazing. Yeah, when they announced that iPhone 12 Mini last year, I was like, oh my God, I shouldn't. And I haven't. I mean, I use iPad a lot more than iPhone. So it's hard to justify, getting one of the newer iPhones when I don't barely use it. Matt says, have you seen the iPhone SE? It's small like the mini, but way cheaper. Yeah, I've seen it in person. Well, actually, pretty much the phone I've got last year for $200, which was the iPhone S. Is it 6S? So it's basically the same thing, only mine's got the actual clickable button. So the 6S does so far for a year. It's been able to do what I need it to do, which is some texts and some calls. I barely use the thing, but that was my venture into iPhone. Fake Champ says they should have theaters dedicated to only playing old movies, never newer ones each day or week dedicated to a decade and themes. I think that could be profitable, but I don't know. That would be great. I think I've said last year that the closest drive-in to us last year was so excited because of the whole bullshit of what's going on. There was a big period of last year at the drive-in theater that played nothing but old movies like Karate Kid, Ghostbusters, Jaws, Jurassic Park, and American Graffiti, and Stand By Me, and all kinds of stuff. That played. I didn't go to this one, but they played. A lot of theaters were playing whatchamacallit last year. Why can't I think of it? Empire Strikes Back and stuff. So, I mean, that would be so freaking cool. I really hope the drive-in theater does the same thing this year. Just play old movies. That was just so freaking cool. I was hoping they like in October or September they would play like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, because a lot of the non-drive-in theaters were playing that stuff too. Because this drive-in usually in September would start playing like horror movies, like the contemporary stuff in years past. So I was hoping they'd do like Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, but they didn't. Matt says iPhone SE has a better CPU than 10. And that's true, but for me, I just like that home buttonless design of 10 and beyond. But that's true. Matt says I can get SE for 250 with Boost Mobile versus 510. Okay, well, there you go. Matt says both camera. Okay, so video and still. Yeah, isn't it fun to have a camera on such a good camera, still camera and video camera just on that little phone thing. One thing I hate though is, and I could just bitch about this nonstop, is I don't want to insult anyone here, but I can't stand the vertical photo/video motherfuckers out there. What's everyone's thought on the people who shoot video and take vertical fucking photos? And like I say, I don't want to insult or ostracize anyone that might be here now or after the fact, but fuck, I guess I should be able to say my opinion. And my opinion is the vertical video shooters can get fucked, and not in a good way. That's my short thoughts on that. It's just like so fucking annoying. It's not like those people have their TVs, fucking sitting on their sides or mounted sideways on their walls in their house. Or maybe they do. So Matt can get the iPhone SE for $250 new through Boost Mobile. Well, I guess I could see why you'd rather do that than $500 for the 10 with the CPU that is less than the SE. So that might be the way to go. So Fake Shemp says, Matthew, if I remember correctly, the SE was a little of a catch-22 because it was app-based or something like that. Well, I think, isn't that what all iPhones are? Matt says SE is basically an iPhone 11 and an iPhone 8 body. Yeah, basically, from what I understand. Mr. Tight White chimes in. He says they have movie theaters like that where I live in Texas. Well, damn, that's cool. We can only hope they stay afloat. Fake Shemp says that Mr. Tight White. Nice. Can you give me theater name? I'd love to look them up later. Are you in Texas too, Fake Chef? Or are you going to drive there? just to go see a movie. Fly to Texas to see an old movie in the theater. Okay, Matt gives his opinion. Oh, vertical video are retards. Turn the phone. iPhone video has such natural colors. Matt says, I also don't like the 10 size. I'd rather get the mini at that point. Yeah, my mom's got that, and I was she got that first, and I was like, yeah, I want iPhone too, but God, that thing is just too big. So that's why I was like, when the mini 12 mini came out, I was like, oh my God, it's perfect. It's perfect. All right, I'm seeing 6 listeners, which probably means 5. Hello, everyone. We're pretty much just talking about iPhones at this point, but that's okay. That's what happens when you've got a chat-driven radio show. You just pretty much talk about what they want to talk about in chat, unless it's, I can only assume, what was his name? Howard left. He kind of wanted to talk about, like, you know, real world depressing stuff. And I don't know. It's not, if you talk about that, you risk getting your channel in jeopardy. And is, you know, as much as I hate to self-censor, and plus, I don't know, I've been talking about that shit for a while, and it's just like, fuck, sometimes I just don't want to think about it. Fake Shemp says, I'm a giant, so with every step, I can be anywhere. Oh, wow. It takes me 12 steps to circle the whole world. Okay. Well, don't step on me. Mr. Tight White says, vertical videos on YouTube drive me insane. I commented on this one guy's video, and he tells me his phone can't record the other way. Is his phone from the 80s? What the fuck? Yeah. Well, he's probably right. It can't record the other way unless you flip it the other way. He probably just, I mean, Jesus Christ. I don't understand what it is with these vertical video motherfuckers. It pissed me off that phones and things could even, I mean, why they even let them being able to be recorded that way from the first place just pissed me off. Oh, man. Matt says mini. I can only assume he means the iPhone 12 mini is so nice. The whole phone is a screen, no wasted space on a small phone. I know, you know, it really makes me, you know, it tempts me with all of this commie bucks being just handed to us to just be like, you know what? Maybe I should just get the iPhone 12 mini. But I've got really good, what's that called? Self-control. So I just can't justify it because the amount I use the phone is so not that often. So I'm going to try to stick with the ancient 6S for a while. As much as I just love fucking, as much as I hate to be a what's that called? A fucking, what is it called? A consumer, you know, consumerism moron. That's a nice piece of phone. I will say. Matt says, I'm hoping the iPhone SE 3rd generation is just an iPhone mini. Yeah, a lot of people said that's what, you know, the SE should have been, is really kind of what the mini turned out to be. I know. Matt says, nah, the iPhone SE is a way better deal than mini. Well, yeah, that's obvious. But, you know, the government's just giving us all this money. They want us to have the 12 mini, though. See. Matt says, or a refurbished iPhone 8 is even a great deal. I'm not, yeah, that might be true. I'm too good to myself to bother with refurbished tech. That is definitely one route, but that's a line that I just like, you know what? I deserve better than refurbished tech. I spoil myself. Fake Shemp says, one thing I'm hoping for in upcoming iPhone is a pro camera feature software like manual controls instead of buying a third-party app. Many people online talk about it, so hopefully Apple will listen. Yeah, from what I hear, there's like a super duper Sony phone that has like basically this is your comment reminded me of this super amazing Sony phone that has like cinema like video camera in it where you can do all kinds of different aspect ratios. It's basically like a high-end, cinema digital camera in the cell phone. The things you can do with it, one of this super duper Sony cell phone camera for video recording, all the settings and all the things you can do is just like out of sight. Problem is Apple kind of does their own thing regardless of what people want. I mean, look at what they did with the getting the charger out of the box last year. Just the biggest joke in the world. And Summerhill Cinema showed up. Hey, buddy, welcome. Summerhill, we've been talking about iPhones, so you can talk about whatever you want. Just to let you know, we're talking about iPhones. But feel free to chime in with anything you'd like to if you want to. Matt says, "Ha ha ha, true." I think maybe I don't even know what he's even responding to anymore. Maybe the, maybe my comment about just not getting refurbished tech, but it's anyone's choice. Matt says, switch to Boost Mobile and get iPhone SE new for $250. Yeah, I'm never probably going to get an iPhone again with, the next iPhone I get is going to be the full screen thing, without the home button thing. But thank you for the suggestion. I just love that home buttonless design. I'm pretty much drooling over 12 mini. With any luck, obviously this fall 12 mini will drop $100. Not that that makes it any more, well, not that it makes it really affordable. Fake Shemp says, laugh out loud. So true. Yeah, I'm late and behind in chat. I don't even know what he's saying that about. Matt says, commie bucks to buy. Oh, maybe he's talking about commie bucks to buy iPhone SE. Boy. Yeah, the home button gone is really nice. It just occurred to me the other day, like from day one on like the first iPhone, the home button never needed to be there because it's like the swipe up technology. I mean, it was a touch screen from day one. So I don't know why the home button was even there from the beginning. So I was just, that thought occurred to me for a while off and on, like, yeah, home button never needed to be there. I think it's so funny how long it took them to get rid of it. I mean, we could have been swiping up to get home from the beginning. Summerhill says, my camera that I use for all my videos is an iPhone 5. Seems to work all right. Yeah, it looks pretty good. It looks like, maybe in years past you were using like an iPod or an iPad or something to shoot your videos before they went like 16:9 or whatever. But yeah, I noticed recently, I don't know if it was in the last year or two, that the video quality on your videos definitely improved. But I'm not a huge, I mean, as you guys know, I mean, shit, it's 21 and I'm still uploading standard definition videos. The reason I do that is because my internet is just slow, and as it is, it takes like 2.5 hours to upload a 40-minute review, and that's just standard definition. So I think you guys can understand why I'm still uploading standard definition videos. Plus, I don't have anyone really complaining about that, and even if they did, oh well. Another thing I like about uploading standard definition videos is because it kind of goes with my generation. I'm a standard definition generation. So there's things about standard definition in regards to, the channel I have that I like, and also the files are just so much smaller, when you transfer them and edit them and all this stuff. In case of anyone's silently wondering why I'm still in 2021 uploading standard definition videos, that's why. It's mainly because it would take a day with my internet to upload an HD one. Plus, I don't want you to see all my wrinkles. Matt says, I know even on new iPhone you can add the digital home button. All iPhones had that. I don't know if we're talking about the same thing, but that's okay. Why would anyone want to add a digital home button? It's been a while, like a couple weeks since Summerhill uploaded a video. He must be hard at work on his music creations, music endeavors. Fake Shemp says, yeah, I actually like the old SD video for YouTube. Makes the shows seem super homemade and amateur. Some guys made the switch to HD and it really changes the atmosphere and tone of the vid. Yeah, that's something that I've always thought too. I mean, that's one thing I love about standard definition on YouTube still is, like I say, I'm a standard definition generation. So how perfect is it to go with me? And also, like you say, the people with the, freaking 4K videos and shit, I mean, they just, they look, when they look too good, then it doesn't, I don't know, somehow it loses humanity, or it becomes, that's a really good point. It just, yeah, it almost looks too good, like too corporate, or just too phony baloney. That's a really good point. I actually, for the record, I don't think I've ever had anyone complain once about, maybe they did once, about, me, uploading standard definition movie reviews, but I think if that ever did happen, my answer was just that. It's just like, well, I'm a freaking, I don't know what I said, but I'm a standard definition generation. I mean, so it's perfect. Summerhill says originally it was an iPhone 4. Okay, clearly the 5 is much better. Okay. It seems like there may have been a couple videos over the years that you used an actual video camera with, because it seemed like the stereo sound was really good. Did you ever, or I don't know if you're able to, I don't think you're able to get that kind of stereo sound with an iPhone. So I can only assume like there was this like a video here and there over the past couple years where you've actually shot on a video camera, because I remember listening with headphones and it was like, oh my God, like you set something down to the right or to the left of the screen and you could hear it, the sound was appropriate, it was on the left or the right or wherever. So I'm like, wow, that sounds like an actual video camera. Summerhill says, yeah, I have been busy with music and spending time outside, planning on starting more videos soon. Okay, well, definitely good to spend time outside after a crappy winter. Did you mention that maybe this is what you did in the past, that you might start doing more videos outside? I know you did that for a while a couple years ago. Doing outside can always be, there's difficulties to doing videos outside, like wind noise and distractions, and so there's negatives about shooting videos outside as well. Matt says the new iPhones have stereo sound recording. Okay, it looks like the newest one he's using though is a 5, so I don't think that has stereo sound recording. But yeah, I'm aware of that. I think if you film in landscape, which is what everyone should be filming in, I think you're right. They are stereo. these teenagers and shit, they just completely have no idea how this technology of being able to have, freaking 4K video camera in your pocket. They just completely don't understand how amazing it is. I thought about how cool would it be if they like made it like a Back to the Future 4 or something like that, and some, asshole Gen Z motherfucker went back to the 80s or something like that, and they're like, in the moment of desperation, they're like, oh shit, I got to take a picture of this, give me your phone, and they hand them an old phone connected to the wall. Because just think how stupid that would sound in the 80s. Do you have a phone? I got to take a picture of something. Okay, well, what takes a better picture, the rotary dial or the button phone? Mr. Tight White chimes in, I didn't even know it was possible to upload in standard definition. Well, yeah, you just render your video in standard definition, and that's how it uploads. Yeah. Yeah, join the SD crowd. SD matters. Standard definition matters. Remember how in like the VHS boxes back in the day, they'd be like inglorious black and white. It'd be their way of trying to make black and white seem better. I mean, I love black and white, but I'm talking about, I think it was their way to try to say to those black and white naysayers out there, who might want a colorized version, that give black and white a shot. So we can say like inglorious standard definition. Summerhill answers the question. He says, oh, yes, that was a Canon digital camera. It eats up so much battery life, it's not worth it. Okay, but the sound was really good, because sometimes if it's late at night, I'll listen to, YouTube on headphones, and I was just like, oh, my God, it's like the stereo sound is really great. So I figured it was an actual video camera. You can't like record on that camera with it plugged into the wall, because that's what I do with my reviews. I've just got the little Sony digital camera just plugged in while I'm using it. Might be an option if it's possible. Well, you can use what you want, obviously. Matt says, yeah, you can shoot a cinema quality movie on an iPhone. Yeah, that's just it. I mean, freaking 4K video on a phone. And if you haven't seen any of those videos on YouTube where people review those, I don't know what the hell kind of Sony cell phone it is, but these super duper flagship Sony cell phones that have this like the complete and total cinema like video mode, where you can choose aspect ratios, and you can pretty much choose anything like that you want. Those are just crazy. Fake Shemp says, so true. You'd probably be thrown in the mental asylum asking for a phone to take a picture in the 80s. Wouldn't that be funny? Oh, crap, I need a picture of that. Do you got a phone? Well, yeah, but it's at home. It's plugged into the wall. You can't take pictures with it either. Matt says, I have a Canon camcorder for my vids that chews through the battery. Okay, can't you guys have it plugged into the wall when you're shooting vids? I mean, obviously not if you're on the move, but if you're just sitting stationary, that's what I do. Fake Shemp says, then start talking about the girl of your dreams, Sarah Connor. Yeah, there you go. Mr. Tight White says, cool, man, your videos are like a PS2 game. That's just it. It seems to me I might have had one comment or complaint over the years about the SD quality, and I'm just like, I'm an SD generation, and how cool, it's like you guys are pointing out so many things about, kind of backing up my claim that I've never really even thought of, like, kind of just a retro feel, basically, into an SD video being uploaded in 2021. It's like, most of the movies I talk about are old movies, so why would you not review those old movies in an SD video. Years and years and years and years ago, I saw some guy. I thought it was the coolest thing, but it'd be a lot of work. Well, depending on how be able to do it. But this was a long time ago. Some guy looked like he was shooting videos for his channel on VHS and then uploading. But to me, that would just be too much work to I don't know how you'd have to have some kind of thing to obviously then play the VHS back into something which can make it a digital file. But I thought that was really cool that he actually filmed it with a VHS camera and uploaded to YouTube. I can't say, I don't remember the name of the channel or anything, but I thought that was really cool. Summerhill says, yeah, I would like to do more outdoor reviews. I only stopped because I had some really strange neighbors that moved in next door, similar to the couple from The People Under the Stairs. Oh my God. Yeah, that's another thing. If you're out there on your deck or whatever doing videos, I mean, and you feel like you could be being watched and stuff, and it just can be so distracting. So I completely hear where you're coming from there. That's why just doing them indoors is just so much easier. There's just so many things against you when you do them outdoors. Wind noise, distractions, people glaring at you. Matt says it's also amazing how I can record and mix really good quality music now on just my laptop. I know. Will Powell's here. Welcome. He says, good evening, sir, because he's in the UK. In case anyone's wondering, it's probably, I don't know, 7 or 8. What time is it there, Will? Do you guys do spring ahead? Because I think we were 6 hours early, but we just sprung ahead. So I don't know if you guys do that there, which would mean maybe we're only 5 hours early anymore, or only 5 hours early now. Yeah, isn't it just crazy what you can do with video and music now on a laptop? It's just unbelievable. I mean, I'm so jealous of these kids that have the access to this stuff. I mean, back in the frickin' 90s when I was making, home videos and movies, I had to connect 2 VCRs together, keep recording it over and over. By the time you're done with, editing and adding the sound to it, it's not even watchable. You can't even see it because it's like 3 or 4 generations of VHS degrading. Oh my God. Summerhill says, there is a guy who still does all his videos on VHS. Maybe it's him then. I think that's really cool. Yeah, for anyone complaining about me shooting, digital standard definition, they'd really complain to him. Fake Shemp says, Summerhill, give him something to watch, like wearing your underwear on the outside of your pants. Yeah, but if you've got deadly killer neighbors, you don't want to give them any reason to kill you. So Will Powell says, just gone past 7 p.m. So maybe we sprung ahead an hour, and maybe you stayed an hour. So yeah, okay. So it's just past 2. Oh, never mind. This clock I'm looking at is it's not correct. I'm really confused. I don't know what time it is. Maybe it is. Normally it's not right. But if I started at 1 and then I'm an hour into the show, it should be 2. So bear with me as I'm trying to do basic math in my head. So I'm assuming you guys don't do daylight savings time in the UK, so you just stay at the same time all year? Because since we sprung ahead 1 hour recently since the last show, we're probably, instead of being 6 hours apart, I think we're only 5 hours behind you, if I'm understanding correctly. Matt says, record the assholes glaring out in public. Tell them they famous now on YouTube. That's something you could do. Gary Page is here. Hi, welcome. He says, hi, Nate. Hope you're all okay. I think we're all okay, unless some of us are listening from a hospital room. I haven't seen anyone in chat that said that, but we're doing okay, or I guess I'm okay. Summerhill Cinema goes, ha, 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 ha. I will have to do that. Well, be sure to record it if you do. But welcome, Gary Page. We're about an hour and 5 minutes in the show. I would imagine there'd be at least an hour left of it. So I think a better turnout than last week. So that's fun. Matt says it's like these retards don't know what a camera is or YouTube. Oh, okay. People that might be glaring at you making videos on your back porch. Yeah, but if they're older people, maybe they don't know about YouTube. But shit, you'd think, I mean, most old people know about it too, though. Oh, well, doesn't matter. Some people are just, I mean, if he's really got crazy neighbors, you never know what they know or what they do. Will Powell says, yeah, we do regarding daylight savings time. We go, pardon me, we go forward and backwards. Don't ask me when, ha. I get confused with all that. Well, luckily, all of our smartphones do it for us. Back in the day, we had to frickin' remember to do it ourselves. But if we look at our tablets and or smartphones, they do it for us. So they remind us to, reset the rests of our clocks or whatever. What a drag. What a joke. Fake Shemp says, Nate, you forgot a few of Summer Hill's ha's. Oh, that's true. Okay. Ha, 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 ha. There we go. You called me out on my reading of the chat. And Gary Page says, your time has changed. Oh, see, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about daylight savings time. So in the States, Gary Page, Gary Page is thinking that he's starting at the show when it's starting, and he's an hour late because we sprung ahead since the last show. Central Time has advanced 1 hour. We sprung ahead with daylight savings time. I should have probably made a video about that, but I figured, I guess I should have made a video about that because I don't know if everyone. I don't think everyone. I don't know. I guess I should have made a video about that. Sorry about that. Well, we'll probably be here for another hour, Gary. So, yeah, because I think Gary meant to show up right as the show started, but since we sprung ahead, I don't know. I'm really confused. I started at 1 Central Time, but which was, our 1 Central Time is an hour ahead of where it was last week. I hate that bullshit. I always wondered if someone has a work shift where they're actually working while it changes. I mean, are people screwed an hour of pay, or how the hell does that work? It's like, I started my shift at midnight and ended at 5, and I only got 4 hours of work in. I don't know if that would be in the fall or what. Matt says, oh my God, someone is using his phone in public to make a video. Oh my God. Call the police. I added that part. Will Powell says, I'll be back in 10 minutes, matey. Okay. Fake Shemp says, now it's all good with the world. Now is all good with the world. I don't know why, but I'll take your word for it. Summerhill says, that's better. Ha, ha. Okay, I did all of his ha's there. Gary Page says, yes, didn't know. Right. Okay. Yeah, we sprung ahead daylight savings time. It always makes me think of the original Hills Have Eyes Part 2. If you watch my review of that, a big part of, maybe not a big part, but there's a part of the movie, part of the reason why they end up where they do is because of daylight savings time. So when I did my review of Hills Have Eyes Part 2 from the 80s, I kind of added a tagline of the poster. And I don't know if it's a tagline, but it's a part to the title where it's like Hills Have Eyes Part 2, Daylight Savings Time. Or I think they call it Daylight Saving Time or whatever. Because it's a small plot point of the movie. It's like, oh shit. That's how it was like in the 80s. You can they thought they were gonna be like an hour, I can't remember. They were on their way to the races and they were gonna be they thought they were going to be early, but because it was daylight saving time and they were supposed to spring ahead, they turned out they were going to be late or some stupid detail. It was just like, oh my God. It's funny how in the first Hills Have Eyes, the little bunny rabbit is basically the cause in the road that they swerve to avoid is basically the cause for all their deaths. And then in the second one, daylight saving time might be a culprit. It's just like all these things that are seemingly innocent are a cause of death. Fake Shemp says, yeah, there's debates on maybe abolishing time change, so don't know how that will go. Yeah, I don't know why it started to begin with. It's really a joke. I guess I should have probably made a video about that, but all's well that ends well. I guess I just figured, yeah, I guess I should have made a video about the time change. I guess I figured if they don't know about it, oh well. Fake Shemp says, so Nate, I heard you talk about your rare Laserdisc of Last House on the Left. Have you reviewed that movie before? What's your thought? Super disturbing, but lots of dark humor. Yeah, we reviewed back when I was reviewing videos with the gentleman I started this channel with, way back in, I don't know, I think maybe when we started it in 2011, I'm pretty sure way back then in 2011, me and Matt probably reviewed it. So if you wanted to check out our I think now probably almost 10-year-old review of Last House on the Left, feel free to do so. I don't think I've ever talked about it since, but it's so funny how, because it's a Wes Craven movie, Matt was all like praising it. Meanwhile, I think we reviewed, I don't know, at some point, one of the biggest viewed videos on the channel is our review of I Spit on Your Grave, the original. And it's kind of like the same movie, but because Wes Craven had nothing to do with, I Spit on Your Grave, Matt was all down on and hard on that movie. And he praises, I can't remember how much he liked Last House on the Left, but he certainly likes it more than the original Spit on Your Grave. But it's just kind of funny to me, like, so maybe if Wes had made the other one, maybe you'd praise that one and not. So it's just kind of. But the long answer to that is that if you search, if you go to my channel and just search in the little search bar for my channel only and just type Last House, I'm sure the review will come up. I can't remember. Obviously, it's been 10 years, almost 10 years since we reviewed it. I can't remember what I said about it, but I mean, I like it. I just watched it recently again, and I think it's a good accomplishment, but it's not a movie I watch very often because of its disturbing nature, And your comment makes me remember that I did, in fact, since the last week's show, I did in fact go through all the Laserdiscs I have, and I dug out Laserdiscs of interest that I'm gonna. There's a whole bunch of them. So I might have to, I don't know, I don't know. I might have to, there's a whole bunch of Laserdiscs that I found that might be of interest to show you guys. So those are some of the first videos that I'll be shooting of this year. As I said, the videos I've been uploading once a week are videos that I shot last year. But yeah, I mean, I think Last House on the Left is a pretty horrific movie, and I can remember commenting in our review of Last House on the Left that I love the music and whatever his name is, David Hess's music and stuff is really great in that movie. And then Matt laughed at that, and I just got pissed. I'm like, yeah, it's a generational thing. He's 10 years younger than me, so I don't think he agreed with my thought about the music. David Hess's songs, in Last House on the Left being great. I think they're great. I've actually got the CD that David Hess was selling, a while back. I was trying to find it the other day. I can't find it. Gary Page says, saw you showcase Toolbox Murders, good film. Cameron Mitchell, great. A actor, why he never became a big star, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, if you watch my review of The Demon, I think I mentioned in that review that, I mean, I didn't know until just recently that he was, in movies, bigger movies when he was younger with James Cagney and, Doris Day, and he was actually more of an A-list celebrity. So, I mean, I think he had his run, and so often is the case when you get older, like Donald Pleasance, people are reduced to being in low-budget horror movies and stuff. So I think, Cameron Mitchell, did have a good run in his younger years. But, unless you're a huge star like James Cagney or something like that, you just end up, when you get older, just taking the work you can get, I guess. But yeah, I never knew that he was a bigger star and worked in actually bigger movies when he was younger until recently. Matt says, I'm going to head out, Nate. I'll talk to you later. I don't know if he's still here to hear me say, all right, hasta la vista. Catch you next time. But that'll happen. Will Powell says, movie sequel idea, An English Werewolf in New York. Oh my God, that'd be funny. I can almost see the guys who, the guys who made the Airplane movies and Naked Gun do that. That's really actually kind of funny. An English Werewolf in New York. How would you do it exactly backwards? American Werewolf in London. Okay, yeah, that is pretty much backwards. Maybe a British werewolf in New York. But yeah, I see where you're coming from. That'd be funny. From the makers of Airplane and Naked Gun. Not that anyone now knows what the hell those movies are. God, I'm dating myself. Summerhill says, is anyone here a fan of Chopping Mall? I just noticed the Blu-ray is finally decent price on Amazon. Think I'm going to order it today. I personally enjoy the movie. Yeah, I think it's pretty well done. I think it's got a really nice sense of humor about it. And it's filmed in that famous, shopping mall from like Commando and what's that other movie that's coming out on Criterion Blu-ray? Fast Times at Ridgemont High. So the mall that it's featured in is like, it was a famous mall from the 80s and was in at least, probably in more movies than I'm naming. But yeah, I'm a fan of Chopping Mall. And actually that's the reason I never got the Blu-ray either, is because it's been so expensive for such a long time. So your comment makes me interested in checking out. I'm pretty sure like the HD scan of Chopping Mall has been on Amazon Prime and might be on Tubi TV, but I feel like that's a Blu-ray that I should have as well. So if it's a reduced price for me as well, maybe I'll pick it up. Thanks for the heads up. But I'm a fan of it. I think it does what it does really well. I don't think I've ever reviewed it. I first saw that, I think, in the early 90s. Me and my dad rented it. I don't think I was crazy about it at the time, but I've grown to like it since. Fake Shump says, at Will Powell, that sounds awesome, just as long as it has kick-ass non-CGI effects. Oh yeah, me and a buddy were so pissed off. Was it like 2001 or the late 90s, early 2000s when American Werewolf in Paris came out, and through the trailers it was just like, we were so pissed off because it was like, oh, it's CG werewolves or whatever. I remember CG being a part of like American Werewolf in Paris. I mean, I never saw the movie. We could just tell in the trailers or whatever that it was like CG werewolves. Yeah, I'm right with you. Don't even bother it if it's going to be CGI. Get what's his name, Rob Bottin, out of retirement if he's still alive. Fake Shemp says at Summerhill, love Chopping Mall, super fun movie. Thanks for the heads up. Yeah, I'm gonna probably check out Amazon if I can remember, which I probably won't after the show, and see what it costs to ship it in the States. Summerhill says, speaking of horror, a guy in my neighborhood was running around the other day with an axe trying to break through people's windows. Thought I would share that. Well, Jesus, that's scary. Thank you for sharing. That is scary. Now I can see why you don't do many outdoor reviews. You might get an axe in the somewhere. Will Powell says Last House on the Left is a really nasty piece of work. I bought the DVD expecting a Halloween type film, but this was a different kind of horror. It was an unpleasant watch, but respect for it. Yeah, it's got that documentary, this is really happening feel to it, and it's done. It's so low budget, but it just seems like everything you're seeing in the movie is real. They should really film more movies like that. It's like not found footage necessarily, but like docu style. Yeah, if anyone listening now or after the fact hasn't seen, my review of it with Matt from like 10 years ago, you might want to check that out and see me get pissed off. I don't think I get too pissed off on camera, but you can tell I'm like disappointed and Matt's laughing at when I complimented David Hess's music and songs in the movie. I'm like, come on, man, it's good stuff. Those would actually be some fun songs to like, search out the lyrics and intro and or outro the show with, And now I'm all alone or whatever. It's like down, 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 the damn bam 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 bam. Something like, yeah, there's lyrics to it. I can't something, yeah, like mom sucking on son of a bitch. I can't remember the lyrics, but that'd be fun stuff to sing on the show. Yeah, but David Hess's music in that movie is so great. But yeah, regarding your thoughts about it being unpleasant watch, that's exactly why I don't watch it very often, because it's a little too realistic. Will Powell says, glad you like my idea. No spoof though. Haha. Straight up sequel. Maybe it could be David and Jenny's kid. Who's David and Jenny? Oh, you mean from, okay. A little late, but I caught it. The characters from American Werewolf in London. I got it. That'd be even another detail that would be fun. Okay, so don't play it as a spoof, just serious. Okay. Okay. I can see where you're coming from. Will Powell says Chopping Mall is a lot of fun, and he also says fuck CGI. Yeah, tell me about it. Will Powell says Will Powell says I was saying this back in the early 2000s when I was young and watching Star Wars sequels. All my friends said it's the way forward. I feel so right looking back now. God, how old? So you're like 15. Let's see. I'm trying to think how much younger you are behind me. So in the early 2000s, you would have been, wow, that's pretty impressive thinking for a young kid. Yeah, you would have think most kids in the beginning of the CGI era would have been all for it, but that's really cool to hear that not all kids were, you know, CG supporters when it was really starting to flood everything and take over everything. I know, you know. It just burns me up that James Cameron, a man who at one point, filled a huge, big frickin' nuclear reactor with water to make this underwater movie physically, for the most part. I mean, there are miniature stuff in it and, shots in it as well. But James Cameron, who filmed a huge tank of water to film so many, underwater shots of this underwater movie, practically would end up, his still most recent movie was basically filmed in a room full with all the actors wearing ping pong ball suits. Summerhill says, I'm in Canada, so my Amazon might be different than yours. Yeah, I thought about that before you said it, but thanks for adding it. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Will Powell says, I meant Star Wars prequels. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I kind of knew that even before you said it. Will Powell says, I would have been 12 or 13 when Attack of the Clones came out, I think. Wow. That's great that, youngsters back when CGI was really taking over didn't like it. That's cool. Because, being what the hell was I in 2002? So I would have been 25. So I was just like, God damn CG, and to the point where like episode 3, maybe even episode 2 to a huge extent, but to the point where episode 3 was just filmed in a green room. It's just like, fuck. Compare like the movie Lawrence of Arabia to going to the actual desert and locations, filming things for real, to filming in a green room. And we'll put everything in later. And the poor actors that have to work that way, like, okay, what am I looking at? Well, you're looking at I don't know. We haven't designed it yet. I don't even know what you're looking at. Okay, we've got a new name here. Iron Rooster. He says, hello, my first time catching the show live. Okay, welcome. I don't think I've seen you around on any comments and videos, so what brought you to the channel, Iron Rooster? Gary Page says, David Hess was a thug in Last House and he played great. Yeah, I think he's also in this movie called, which I have on DVD, I should rewatch, called Hitchhike. I think it's like a Italian movie. I can remember the interviews with him on there. There's a scene where he's got to have sex with some woman or something, and in the interview he's saying, okay, I know Italian movies are completely different than American. It's like, what should I do? Should I have sex with her for real? Or it was just really funny interview. But I think the movie's called Hitchhike with David Hess, and I think it's like the late 70s or something. I think it's an Italian production, but I've got the Blu-ray, and I should really check that out again. But David Hess was great as the baddie. Unfortunately, Last House kind of put him in a, what's that? I don't know what the terminology is for it. It kind of, I don't know what the terminology is, but it kind of was relegated to the same kind of characters more or less after Last House. It was like whole career, Will Powell says, I remember seeing Phantom Menace when I was 8. I went along with that one though, haha. And he says, to be fair though, that one was a bit more practical, but Attack of the Clones, I noticed some things wrong here. Yeah, I mean, there was a whole hell of a lot of CG in Phantom Menace too, but like, I guess in regards to Yoda, Yoda was a puppet in episode 1 originally, and then I think episode 2 was the first one where it was CG, and it's like, give me a break. I was reading the comments. Give me a great. Gary Page says, Hitchhike is great. Yeah, that's what I was just. He's the same in this film. Typecast. Yeah, fake champ. Typecast. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, it's like, Last House on the Left put David Hess on the map, and unfortunately, he never got off the map. He's on the same spot on the map ever since. But I guess to being, at least you're getting work, even if your typecast is the same thing over and over and over. Will Powell says, oh, by the way, Nate, I started watching The Forest, got halfway through, but I'll finish it maybe tonight. At some points, the cinematography looked really good and had some good atmosphere. That's the thing. One of the things I love about it is just beautiful, like California scenery. And I just love the killer. He's just so goofy and pathetic. The Gary Kent, I think, plays that guy, and he's just so goofily freaking, he's just so goofy. So I understand if it's not everyone's cup of tea. I mean, it's a lowbrow Z-grade kind of a movie, but I'm a big fan of The Forest. Will Powell says some bad acting though, huh? Yeah, I mean that's the part of the charm of those kind of movies. Iron Rooster says I'm usually just a listener, laugh out loud, rarely comment. I watched New Year's Evil for the first time last night. I loved it despite reading a lot of the bad reviews. Oh, I'm glad to hear it. And thanks for showing up in chat and being more than just a listener. Welcome. But New Year's Evil is definitely my favorite New Year's horror movie, and definitely a movie that gets at least one view from me every year. And I first discovered it back in New Year's of 2000. So last year it was 20 years ago that I first discovered New Year's Evil, and it's been a movie that I watched probably at least once every year since. And New Year's Evil is great, and it's too bad. I think the Scream Factory Blu-ray is out of print now, which is a bummer. I'm glad you loved New Year's Evil, though. Hopefully at some point someone will put it back out on Blu-ray. Or I guess if someone has the funds, they could, pay through the nose on eBay. But yeah, New Year's Evil is just goofy-ass, pathetic fun. I love how, as the night wears on, his plan of killing a woman every hour becomes less and less of a practical situation, and he's like, screw it, I'll just show up at my wife's work and kill her. Whoops, I don't know if I'm spoiling it for people who may not have seen it. Oh well, you should have seen it a long time ago. So Will Powell says this reminds me of when I was recording a song with a band and we wanted a violin. My friend said he'd got loads of simulated violin sounds. I said, let's get Jay a real violin, and got into an argument. Oh my God. Oh, yeah, simulated violin sounds. There you go. Oh my God. Let's just simulate everything. Mother effers. Summerhill says, I think it's much worse that they went back and added CGI to the original trilogy. Yeah. How bad is it that the prequel trilogy was filmed in a green room, but they not only have to do that, but then they got to add CG crap to the original trilogy? I swear, if Disney put out Blu-rays of the original trilogy unaltered, that'd be like probably it very well could be like the highest selling trilogy physical media release ever. I just don't understand it. Why someone can't do it. Summerhill says New Year's Evil is on my to watch list. Oh shit. I just spoiled it then. Really wanted to get the Blu-ray, but as Nate said, it's out of print. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's on Tubi TV. I can remember it being on Amazon Prime. I don't know if of course, you've got to be a member of Prime to watch it, but hopefully it's on. Well, I would imagine it's on YouTube. Even if you got to watch it like standard definition or something, it's probably somewhere for you to watch somewhere. Yeah, it's too bad when Blu-rays have to go out of print like that before people get a chance to get them. It's a bummer. Gary Page says that piece of meat looked tasty. The old dude was eating in the forest. I know, and they talk about that in the commentary. They're like, yeah, and that we didn't have to do catering that day either because we just ate that. The catering is a part of the prop. The prop department put the catering company out of business. Either that or the catering company provided a prop. But I always think that too. I'm like, yummy, yummy, yummy. Maybe it's a little rare in the center of it for my taste. But yeah, I always think that too. Gary Page also checked out The Forest as well, I think, since the last show last week. And yeah, wasn't that funny that the guy was eating his wife unknowingly? That's what I love about it. It's like, that's pretty good. What is it? A dough. A little old, but tasty. Oh my God! Here's a comment that is very, very well timed. Iron Rooster asks if I've ever watched Body Count from 1986. Um, I just watched it since last week on Prime. So, and he also chimes in and he says New Year's Evil is free on YouTube. Thanks for that info. Yeah, so that's a very well timed question. I just, for the very first time since the last week's show, last Thursday, I did watch Body Count on Amazon Prime, and I liked the overall. And again, David Hess is in that. I like the overall atmosphere to it. You've got the goofy, fat kind of character, some of the tropes that go with those movies of the 80s. Um, it didn't blow my ass off, but I liked it. Um, I guess I thought maybe the kills weren't particularly amazing or anything, but I liked the general atmosphere. It was one of those movies like, Sleepaway Camp 3 and Mad Men and stuff where it's like summer camp atmosphere that's more in the fall, late fall, mid to late fall kind of a situation. But it, it's probably something I'd get if it ever came out on Blu-ray. It Body Count from 1986. It was cool, but it didn't blow my ass away. I thought it was funny how in the time of year that is clearly like in the cool time of year in the movie, that they fix up this shower house, dilapidated shower house building, and everyone's taking showers in there with broken windows, and it'd be like it looks like it's 40 to 50 degrees in the movie. And first of all, where are they getting warm water from? Warm water at all? It's just so many things about that movie that are just like kind of funny. But as a whole, I thought it was kind of cool. And for the record, because I'm such a genre fan, I'm pretty sure I had the killer figured out, before it was revealed. But that's because I've seen so many of these kind of movies. But I guess that's my little mini review of Body Count from 1986. It's like an Italian production, but it seems like they were actually shooting more or less, production sound that was, with the actors speaking. I don't think it was like the post-dub situation like a lot of Italian horror movies. It seemed like the actors were actually speaking English on set, So Body Count, cool, but not amazing in my opinion. Summerhill says, I have been saying that for years. I don't understand why they haven't released the original theatrical versions on Blu-ray. You're right. They would sell like crazy. Exactly. Now that George Lucas no longer, has say in it, I don't know why Disney doesn't want to just rake up more of that money like they love to do so much, and put out the original versions on Blu-ray. And, while they're at it, they can do 4K as well, make double amount of money. But, something tells me that, I don't even know if, the original, I could only assume the original versions would have to be in decent enough quality somewhere to, yeah, it's just the biggest mystery in the world. Will Powell says, I must admit some of the added stuff in Star Wars was god-awful, but I do like the change Return of the Jedi music at the end and a few other little things like details outside Cloud City. Yeah, some of the changes are okay, but I can get behind that, but it's hard for me to even really say that because just the general idea of changing stuff in general just bugs me, but I can hear where you're coming from. Gary Page says nice roast beef, referring to the prop in the forest that I think was also like dinner for the day or lunch. Will Powell says, what I'm not a fan of is when they play it on TV without specifying the special edition in the title. As long as the two versions are labeled, it doesn't bother me really. Well, I can't imagine they'd even play if they're playing Star Wars on TV, you pretty much just assume special edition, wouldn't you? Because I think the non-special editions have pretty much been abandoned since they came out in 97. because when he did those, that was like moving forward. Okay, from here on out, this is going to be what these movies are. And it's just like, and then he even changes stuff after that over the years. It's just a joke. It's just funny. All right, everyone. I'm seeing 8 listeners. We're about an hour and 40 minutes into the show. Better turnout than last week anyway, which is appreciated and good. I think a much better conversation this week, akin to shows of old, days gone by. Oh, that reminds me, Offspring is coming out with a new album, I think, pretty soon. So it took them 9 years to put out a new album. So as is often the case with Offspring, the single doesn't blow my ass off, but we can hope there's some more punk rockish kinds of other stuff on the new album, like normal. Fake Shemp says, did you see the deep fakes Brad Pitt as Luke Skywalker? No, I haven't. That he also says that deep fake stuff look really good. Isn't that something? How they can just, make it look so much better than actual movie studios do. Like I say, if someone, could redo Tron Legacy with Jeff Bridges' face with that, to make it look actually good with deepfake versus that crap that's in Tron Legacy, that would be cool. I still wouldn't watch the movie very often, but it'd make it cooler. Will Powell says, I'm conflicted on the Star Wars special editions, haha. I'd like to think I'm a purist, but I think maybe because I've seen the special editions, I think so many times, I kind of forgot the changes. Yeah, I mean, that's even happened to me, because I've got those DVDs they put out where they've, as an extra, I think they got around the legality of something or like that by including the original versions as a quote unquote extra on a disc 2 or whatever. So I can remember, because I've lived with the special editions for almost exclusively for such a long time, and I can remember going back to the originals. It's mostly with the first one, episode 4. You go back to that, the original version of that, and you're almost like, God, some of these effects. So I mean, I don't know. I'm torn as well. It's like, I think that out of the first, episode 4, 5, and 6. I mean, obviously the 4 is the one that was in most need of special editioning. But I mean, I think most of us could probably agree that, like, Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi was in less need of it than the original movie, Iron Rooster asks, do you have any drive-ins left around you? I have a couple I still go to sometimes. Yeah, there's one that's, I don't know, it could be closer, but it's not too terribly far away. And I don't think you might have not have been here today in the early part of the show when I was commenting on how cool the drive-in theater was last year because of everything that's going on. They were playing old movies from like the 80s last year. It was just so cool. Well, 70s and 80s. So there's pretty much just one that's in any kind of distance worth traveling around, and still, which is great around me. So I'm definitely grateful about that. And to be honest, the bullshit of the past year of last year and what's going on and stuff actually made situations better, where, like, instead of, they made it so the cars, instead of like two cars in a spot, it's like just one car where 2 generally go. And so it's kind of like the bullshit of last year almost made a drive-in theater a better situation, because they played good movies from the 70s and the 80s, and they, the cars weren't packed so close together. So it actually was an instance where the bullshit of last year improved something, which I guess is kind of, I don't know. I just assume, anyway, not being bullshit, Bill, but I guess it's one of the silver linings. Will Powell says, many times, oh, I already read that. Summerhill says, a group of super fans took original elements and put out Blu-rays of the entire original trilogy with everything restored back to how they originally were. I have the Blu-rays for those. Huh. I mean, how do they get the original elements? I don't understand, unless they just do it from the Laserdiscs or the DVD that I was talking about, but that's really cool. I think someone else mentioned that in a past show. I don't think it was you, but I think someone else what am I trying to say? Mentioned that in a past show. That's really cool. Iron Rooster says, cool story. My dad went to watch The Night of the Living Dead and Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the drive-in. He said my grandmother puked watching Night of the Living Dead. Oh my God. Yeah, I can imagine. How cool, would seeing those movies back in that day, back in that era would have been, That sounds really cool. I think the furthest back drive-in I can remember going to was E.T. back in 1982. I was a little kid and I was we had a station wagon and I was like in the back, and I wasn't really watching it because the alien kind of scared me as a kid. I mean, I was really young, but that's the oldest drive-in, or the oldest experience of a drive-in movie experience I can remember. Will Powell says, I will say the changes are more background silly things. Doesn't really affect the pacing or story or the punch of the movie, but dang, it's bugging me now. Ha ha. Gary Page says, sorry, I grew up with the first 3 Star Wars films, not interested in all the new ones, too much CGI bullshit. Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you didn't see the quote unquote sequel trilogy, you're better off. You're not missing anything. Or I should say you're not missing anything good. Will Powell says, to wrap my thoughts on that, if different versions are to be made, that's fine, but they should be labeled as special edition, kind of not that much different from a director's cut, I guess. Right. If you're going to change the original, put that title on it, like, Blade Runner, the final cut, and have that be, because I think when they originally came out, that's how they were known, Star Wars special editions. And then over time, I mean, the special editions thing just faded off because George is like, well, this is how I wanted the movies from day one, so why would I call them a special edition? So it's a good point, Will Powell says, so the original is still the original, and if you want it with some other spice, you can. Yeah, because for a while, I think George Lucas got Spielberg into going back and changing stuff when he did E.T., and then I think since then, he's gone back to because they did for the 20th anniversary of E.T., they did a theatrical run where it was E.T. I don't think they really called it, I don't know if they called it special edition. I don't know if they had, I don't know if they called it, but, where they added a scene and they took the guns out of their hands and put walkie-talkies and all that, and they added some CG ET scene shots and stuff. To be honest, I thought the fixes that they added, instead of ET just hovering through the weeds like a freaking guy in a magic carpet or whatever, I think some of the changes that were made in that were actually better, were actually kind of good. But I think But since then, I think Spielberg's gone back to the not changing stuff. I don't think can you even get that CG changed ET on Blu-ray? I don't think you can even really get it anymore. I mean, I haven't bought ET on Blu-ray, But from what I understand, you can't get that version of ET with the changes on Blu-ray, but I might be wrong. You know what I found when I was looking this past week for Laserdisc to showcase? In between a couple Laserdiscs, I must have put it there for safekeeping. I found an original. I'll show you guys this in a video. A 1983 calendar for E.T. the movie. I was like, holy shit! I've got a E.T. calendar for the year 1983. That's really cool. It was stacked in between some Laserdiscs for safekeeping, I guess. Where the hell am I in chat here? I think I'm at Will Powell says his ET special edition was terrible. That annoyed me. It was the walkie-talkies that pissed me off. Yeah, I mean, I can understand that aspect, but I think like that one shot where he changes the ET like hovering along on a track into like him hopping along, I think that was actually an improvement. Stuff like that. But yeah, the walkie-talkies thing was a big what's it called? A big divisive situation. Everyone was pissed off about that. Iron Rooster says another cool story. I recently found Friday the 13th parts 1 through 9 on VHS at a thrift store, brand new. They are the gateway version though. Ah shit, I was excited there for a minute. It's still cool though. Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, the gateway versions of Paramount VHS means, I think, God, are those extended play? They might be extended play. It's still cool that they're sealed though. Are you going to open them or leave them sealed? I don't know. Do you have a VCR to watch? I mean, who the hell would want to watch an extended play tape anyway? It might be cool to keep them sealed. That's cool. Do you make videos on your channel? I'd be interested to see those if you make videos, but it's no pressure. It's up to you. That'd be cool. That's a cool find. So when you say 9, I'm assuming you mean Jason Goes to Hell. Did you find a VHS of Jason Goes to Hell as well? $1 each, he says. I mean, those are just to be cool for the. I mean, even Gateway sealed is kind of a big deal. That's cool. Cool find. Will Powell says, "Did you see South Park take the piss out of the walkie-talkie thing? That was funny. I may have. I haven't watched any of that for a while. I've got the first several seasons on DVD. I may have seen that. I can only assume they would have done it around the time that ET Special Edition came out. Yeah, the more I'm thinking about it, they probably did call it ET Special Edition. Will Powell says they made it out that Spielberg wanted to remove all the guns from Saving Private Ryan and have all the soldiers using walkie-talkies instead of guns. It was hilarious. I may remember something like that. Yeah, how funny would it be to take the guns out of a war movie? Oh my God, that'd be funny. Yeah, it's possible I may have seen that, but it's been a while. That is funny though. Can't have guns in the war movie. Gary Page says, why do they keep tinkering with films on Blu-ray? You have a director's version and then they bring out the director of photography ideal version. Yeah, it's probably money grab at the end of the day. We can keep selling people the same stuff over and over and over. Yeah, when I was looking through since the last show last week, I think it was just yesterday or a couple days ago, I went through all the Laserdiscs to try to pick out ones that might be interesting to show in videos. Because I think I'm going to start my, video shoot for this year by just showcasing some Laserdiscs. And I found all kinds of stuff that I'd forgotten I had. I've got Elite Entertainment, I think from like 1995, Nightmare on Elm Street Laserdisc. I think that was the very first time that there had been a new transfer of something other than the original one from the 80s. Elite Entertainment, Evil Dead 2 and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 Laserdiscs. Elite Entertainment Reanimator Laserdisc. I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff in there that I'm going to be showcasing in videos coming soon. I'll probably be starting to shoot them, I don't know, within the 2 or next coming weeks. Iron Rooster says, I don't make videos. I may one day, though. Best thing I've found at a thrift besides the Arrow video release of Crimes of... Let's see here. Let me do this again. He says, I don't make videos. I may one day, though. Best thing I have found at a thrift besides the Arrow video release of Crimes of Passion. It has Anthony Perkins in it. Okay, cool. Well, I can probably imagine those VHS tapes sealed, so it's not the biggest deal in the world. It's a cool find, though, those VHSs, even if they're whatever you said they were. What'd you say? Gateway, yeah. Will Powell says they keep going back and remixing Beatles albums and making drums more clear and the bass punches. What's that? Throw? Is it throw better? It sounds awesome to me, but I kind of think it's wrong to do that in a way. Oh, I agree. I mean, to jazz up freaking what 50-year-old music. I mean, Jesus Christ. Gary Page says, I had Elite Texas Chainsaw Laserdisc. Yeah, there you go. That was the very first time. I think that movie also had a new transfer from the one that they did. Well, actually, on VHS, it had two, from what I know. The original 80s transfer, and then like in sometime in the early 90s, it got another transfer. And Texas Chainsaw. And I got that tape. And then they put out a Laserdisc of that. I never got that as well, but it was the first time I think Chainsaw had ever been like a quote unquote HD transfer, and first time with commentary and stuff, and first time like widescreen, quote unquote. So yeah, that was a fun, the first Chainsaw release with special features and the just spoofs and bloopers and stuff like that. So the first time Chainsaw had ever had like stereo surround sound. Fake Shemp says the funniest thing is that I'm pretty sure no one was asking for those tweaks, but when fans have been screaming for decades for uncut / deleted scenes of other films, they pretend like the negs are, I don't know what. Oh, the negs are destroyed. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I can't believe that, I don't know if we're talking about the original Star Wars trilogy or what we're talking about, but I can't believe that the original film elements would be, gone. Fake Shump says, sorry, ran out of room. That's okay. Will Powell says, they don't re-record anything or remove anything. They just clean up the sound. But then again, that's not the art that they released originally. So it's a strange one. Yeah, I mean, to even clean up stuff. I mean, one could say. I mean, that could. I mean, it's just ethics. I don't know. I mean, obviously, it all boils down to points of view. You could have one group that thinks it's the right thing to do, and another group that doesn't. And I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess it's the same thing to a certain extent with 5.1ing a movie that was originally mono and stuff. It's I guess it's anyone's whatever. Opinion. But obviously, if they can keep, releasing the same music over and over by saying, we're enhancing it or whatever, it's money to be made, I guess. Okay, everyone, we're about 2 hours into the show at this point. Thank you, everyone, for showing up and being here and participating. Definitely a more busy show than last week, which is nice. The silence is just me waiting for some of the chats just inexplicably stopped. Oh, okay. Here's a good question. Iron Rooster says, thinking of watching Blood Hook tonight. Anybody watched it? I first saw it, I don't know when. I think maybe a couple years ago. I first streamed it on Amazon Prime, but I think that was the cut version. And then I got the Blu-ray, which is Vinegar Syndrome, not knowing that it was a longer version and stuff. And I reviewed Blood Hook on my channel if anyone wants to check it out. It's a movie that I think is kind of fun, just a low budget movie. I think I don't know which version you're gonna watch, if it's the full length or the full version, or if it's the cut version. But I'm of the opinion that the full length version is actually a little too long, personally. But that's just me. But overall, Blood Hook is kind of fun, goofy, fun, like horror movie for fishing enthusiasts. And being a huge fan of summer and lake environments and stuff, if you like that kind of stuff, you'll like it, because it's got nice lake scenery and stuff. So that's my short review of Blood Hook. And Gary Page says, "Hi, welcome to Pizza Talk." Yeah, if the chat ever gets slow, I could always talk about pizza or Friday the 13th. I think we talked about pizza last week. If I'm not, was it last week? I don't know. I think it was last week. Yeah. Summerhill says, sometimes remastering is a good thing when it comes to music. It can bring out the sound of instruments that weren't easy to hear due to very old studio equipment. Yeah, I mean, Summerhill brings up a good point. This is what I mean, where it's like there's really no right or wrong answer. I mean, that's a good point. But I guess my answer to it would be, well, maybe I'm not saying you're wrong. I mean, you're not wrong. There's no right or wrong. But I guess the counter to that would be, well, is it ethical? I mean, this is how the stuff was recorded. It's kind of like colorization of black and white movies, But again, there's really no right or wrong answer. It's just a personal preference situation. Fake Shemp says, yeah, never heard of Blood Hook. I'll check out the review. Yeah, I did a review of Blood Hook where I thoroughly go on talking about it's funny because the movie was shot in 16 millimeter, and it's like almost 2 hours long, and it's like, I think it's like the longest 16 millimeter movie that I can think of. Like, usually if there's 16 millimeter, it means they're low budget, which means they don't have endless amounts of money for film stock. So I thought it was interesting how, like, the Vinegar Syndrome, the full director's cut version or whatever, is almost 2 hours long. And how many, like, 16 millimeter movies can you think of that are almost 2 hours long? Isn't that funny? So it's an interesting movie. So there you go. Summerhill says, I much prefer a lot of remastered CDs. Yeah, because back in the 80s and stuff, when they were starting them, like, if you compare, a lot of times they were a lot quieter than they had to be, So just do a more modern day master of an old recording or whatever. Fake Shump says that Gary, I could go for a slice right now, referring to pizza. There we go. Pizza talk again. I've got some leftover Chinese that I'll be heating up after the show. So it's not pizza, I'm afraid, for me tonight. What the hell is it called? Sesame chicken and rice. So that'll be my dinner after the show for me tonight. And hopefully pizza before too long. So, oh wow, Summerhill says I have Bloodhook, but still haven't watched it. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those movies that's just like, it's kind of mid ground. It's like not. I don't regret buying it. Like, it's cool for us outdoors enthusiasts, because it's really pretty and stuff, and it's goofy enough where it's. I think, I don't know. I'd like to think you'll at least kind of like it. I don't watch it very often, but that was filmed, I think, in Wisconsin, not too far from me. Part of me was like, the best review in the world would be if I could go to the locations to film the review at the locations, but I don't know. It's kind of too far away. Gary Page says, fake champ, ha, 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 ha. Yeah, pizza talk. Here we go. Fake champ says, so we talked a few weeks ago about Last Starfighter. I tried to watch it, but didn't last after he arrived to the spaceship. Yeah, I can remember like not being, I can't remember the movie very well, but I can remember not being crazy about that alien guy and that makeup or whatever. I was thinking about watching it way back then, but I forgot what the hell it was. I was like, I better watch that tonight, and then by the end of the show, I couldn't remember what the hell it was. So I haven't watched it recently, but yeah, Last Starfighter. I might I think my recollection is like the same thing. Like the first half, I liked more than the last half or whatever, but that's okay. Summerhill says, now I am craving pizza. Ha ha. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I am too, but I've got Chinese. Leftover Chinese I got to take care of. Yeah, that's a good point. Whenever the chat's slow, just start talking about pizza. Good reminder. Okay, so Iron Rooster asks, have you watched The Banker from 1989? I have not. I've never heard of it. Is it a horror movie or a Wall Street ripoff? Fake Shemp says, hey, you totally skipped my Golden Child post. Guess you're not a fan. Golden Child. How far was it up there? I'm not seeing anything about Golden Child. Oh shit, there it is. I'm sorry. Yeah, just to let everyone know, if I skip something, it's not because I mean to. I just sometimes it's hard to know where I left off from. But thank you for bringing that up. So Fake Shemp, way back when, a while ago, said, Eddie Murphy fans, I want to get that new Golden Child 4K scan. Okay. I think we talked about this in past shows. I guess my favorite Eddie Murphy movie is probably Trading Places. For me, like, if it's Eddie Murphy, it's got to be from the 80s. Anything after that, for me, I don't think I've really liked anything he's been in after the 80s. I don't think I've really seen much of what he's been in after the 80s. So, but my favorite is Trading Places, and I don't remember loving Golden Child, but I haven't seen it for a while. But it's really cool that Paramount's been doing those new 4K scans of some of the older movies. I'm on the fence about getting the new Blu-ray of Trading Places, but since I only watch it once a year, it's kind of like, do I really need to get this? I like the packaging though, and I'm sure the new scan's great, but I'm on the fence about getting that because when you only watch it once a year, like around Christmas, it's like maybe the first Blu-ray is good enough. Will Paul says, wondering if I could ask a favor, Nate. Just released a new song on my YouTube channel, Sunshine on My Feet. Would you mind giving it a plug? Also on Spotify and the other ones. I'm not going to say anything about your new song. Oh, I already did. So everyone listening now or after the fact, Will Powell, if you didn't know, is a musician in the UK. He's got it looks like he's actually on his music channel right now. Feel free to check out his tunes. Looks like he just released a new song called Sunshine on My Feet. Feel free to check it out. I'll try to do that after the show, after Chinese. But apparently it's also on Spotify. I don't know when you say in all the other ones, you mean all the other music places. But there you go, Will. Happy to do it. And like I say, I'll be checking it out hopefully later if I can remember. Iron Rooster says it's a horror movie regarding, now I have to scroll back up, talking about The Banker from 1989. You should put it on your watch list. Is there any way to watch it for free? Is it on Tubi or Prime Video? If so, I'll take a screenshot and try to check it out maybe at some point someday. Thanks for the recommendation. Fake Shemp says, yeah, I bet if I go back and rewatch your old recordings, I'd probably find I've already asked some questions before. That's okay. I mean, there's a lot. There's almost 10 years worth of videos on this channel. I don't expect everyone to search for everything on the channel before you ask. That's okay. But yeah, I remember, I think I had a kind of a fun time reviewing it's one of my classic movie/Blu-ray reviews where I talk about the movie of Blood Hook and then the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray, which looks amazing, by the way. My mouth is drying out. Fake Shemp says, at Will, nice, I'll check it out. Looks like we already got a listener. Will Powell says, thanks a lot, mate. Really appreciate it. Not a problem at all. Apple, he says, yeah, Apple Music, etc. All right, well, that's very exciting. And let me also take this opportunity to congratulate you for another song put out there in the world. So now, how long did that take you, like from, I don't know, inception to finishing it? Like when you thought of it? That'd be an interesting question, not being a musician myself. Can you give us any making of info? Like how long did that song take from when did you first come up with the idea for it? Things like that, if you want to share. Iron Rooster says another one is White of the Eye from 1987 horror thriller. Yeah, I haven't seen that either. Will Powell says, just got my song played on local radio, so that's cool, and thanks again. Well, Jesus, I'd say you pretty much made it if it's on local radio. That's really freaking cool. Jesus, I think you've got some bragging rights. Congratulations. Iron Rooster says, I think The Banker from 1989 is free on Tubi or Prime. Let me just grab a device to take a picture of the chat with. I'll see about checking it out, maybe. All right, I also got a shot of the other title, White of the Eye. Summerhill says, congrats, Will. That is awesome. Working on some music myself right now, which is why he hasn't done a video in 2 weeks. That's okay. We understand that tinkering with music and getting outside in the spring is important as well. Fake Shemp says, at Iron, haven't heard of The Banker either, but now I'm interested. Thanks for the heads up. Yeah, I haven't heard of it either. as I already said. Gary Page says, White of the Eye is another good film from the late 80s. Okay, so it sounds like we've got, pardon me, we've got a Belch and another person who agrees with White of the Eye. Okay, well, at this point, I'd say this show's probably going to go longer than last week's, which I think at this point we're about 2 hours and 15 minutes into the show. That last week at this point, I think the chat had pretty much died a quick death, and I ended the show with the tail between my legs. So I'd say at this point we can keep going. I'm not gonna. I've made a decision. I can't remember if I've talked about it before, but I'm not going to go over 3 hours anymore in a show, because by the time I get to the 3 hour mark, I'm just dead. So we might go as long as 45 more minutes, depends on how lively the chat remains, but being 2 hours and 16 minutes into the show at this point, thank you once again for everyone showing up this week and contributing in chat. And apparently Iron Rooster just was mostly a listener, has chimed in chat. Thank you very much for doing so. Maybe even did so because of the small turnout last week, who knows? But I appreciate everyone who shows up and participates in chat very much. And my voice, I got to take a drink. Okay, so Will Powell chimes in with some behind the scenes info on the song here. The song, he says, the song was written in a couple of days. Then I recorded it over 4 days, I think. The mixing took a while, maybe 3 weeks, but that's because I'm OCD with it. I literally had to say, fuck it, and release it, or I'd never be happy with it. And thanks for the kind words there, Nate. That's very encouraging. Well, shit, none of us have a song on the radio, so you're very much welcome. That's really cool. Well, I guess I can. I guess I'm just assuming none of us here, none of none of us have a song on the radio. I could be wrong. All right, chat's slowing up. So pepperoni pizza, deep dish. Will Powell says, how long does it take to edit your videos? Do you get OCD with it or just go for it? Yeah, I've been doing it for such a long time that I guess most of them I don't get OCD with. Sometimes I'll go through 40, like just recently. Okay, here's a good example. Like the last video I uploaded was the my review of whatchamacallit. What I can't think of, Silent Running movie and Blu-ray review. There was an see, generally what I do is, like, if a movie's rated G and I swear in the review, I'll cut out the swear words, because I guess technically maybe I shouldn't be swearing in a review for a G-rated movie, in case someone who doesn't want to hear swear words is watching. So I cut out one of the shits towards the end, and then I got it all rendered and I was starting to upload it, and I was like, checking it over to make sure it was all fine, and I realized that there was a shit early in the review. And it's just like, then I'm like, because after I render, I watch the whole thing to make sure the render worked. So if you're talking a 40-minute review, you're talking 40 minutes to watch it. I just already watched it. I was starting to upload it, and then it's like, oh, there's a shit that I didn't cut out at the beginning. So then I just went, okay, so if I cut that shit out, then I have to re-render and re-watch it again. So I just said, fuck it. I'll just unmute the second shit, and I'll leave the two shits in there. I mean, they're just words, and I'll render and watch one more time. and upload it. So, but for most of the time, that kind of stuff doesn't happen. Most of the time, OCD doesn't really play into it, I guess, that much. It might almost be fun to do like a behind the scenes video of me editing one of those. I've done so many of it that it's almost like autopilot. But yeah, because generally what I'll do is I'll shoot a batch of reviews, up to 3, up to, if I'm really going on a day, I can do 3 to 5 reviews all in one day, and then I'll edit them and release them maybe every, during the warm months. I kind of do that where I'll upload one or publish one every 3 months. Not 3 months, Jesus Christ, 3 days. So it's kind of fun to edit. And so yeah, it might be fun to actually just do a behind the scenes video of the editing process, but it doesn't take long to edit them. Like just the other night, what the hell was it? Saturday, or no, it was just Tuesday. I just, all in one sitting, I cut the last 2 reviews that I shot last year that are going to go up, the next couple weeks. And then I have to start shooting some new stuff. And I just cut the 2, I think both of them were close to 30 minutes long. I just cut them both back to back. I did the first one and I'm like, I kind of feel like doing the other one. So it doesn't take if it does take long, I don't care because I like editing. So I guess that's my long-winded version of that. But I'd say most oftentimes is the case, or OCD never really comes into play that much. One thing I like to do is after I do a render is, to watch it to make sure, something doesn't screw up. So the only thing I'm OCD about is watching it back before I publish it, because sometimes like a transition from a screenshot to the video might F up. So that's my long answer to that question. Gary Page, way back after Will Powell asked that question, says talk Friday the 13th now. Well, it turns out Will asked that question, so that got me gabbing for a while. Fake Shemp says, my music is, it was a good suggestion though. It's either pizza or Friday the 13th. Fake Shemp says, my music is more like Spinal Tap, where the DJ was like currently residing. Let's see here. Currently residing. Okay. Where the hell? Oh my God. I did a scroll up and okay. Currently residing in the where they are now. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with Spinal Tap, but it looks like it's a joke in that movie. Summerhill says, gotta run. Have a great day, everyone. See you next week. You might not be here to hear me say thanks for showing up and staying for such a long time this week. It's always appreciated. Maybe he can hear this if he's not here now. Maybe he can hear that if he listens to the rest of it after the fact. Iron Rooster says, I just watched Zombie from 1979 for the first time recently. I can't get the main theme song for that movie out of my head. Laugh out loud. Creepy movie. What a great movie, ain't it? Well, maybe not great movie, but a great goofy movie. Yeah. I first saw that, I think back when I was 15 or 16. And yeah, here, I'll torture you for a few seconds. Okay, that's enough. Yeah, isn't some of the music for those Italian horror movies just great? How about that eyeball in the wood splinter scene? Oh my God. Fake Shemp says at Summerhill later. Hand wave. Will Powell says, do you watch your reviews? I listen to my songs. Haha, so vain. Yeah, I do. Well, a lot of times if I get a comment on an old video, I'll rewatch it to see, you know, what they were talking about or something like that. So I'll on occasion look at an old review. It's kind of fun to see how I think about something from years ago, you know. So yeah, I do. Gary Page says Zombie is a classic. Yeah, I just dug out when I was looking through my old Laserdisc, I just dug out I think it's a Roan group release of Zombie on Laserdisc. I think that was like the first time that was ever released in like widescreen that I'm aware of. So I'll showcase that in the coming weeks for you guys. The Zombie Laserdisc released by I think it's the Roan group back in, I don't know if it was the late 90s when it came out. I don't know. I'll reveal all that info for you in the video I make about it. But yeah, you know, I really want to get that most recent 4K scan of Zombie Blu-ray, but I'm so cheap, it's so expensive. That's the one where the zombies trying to eat the shark underwater. Isn't that classic stuff? God. Will Powell says PG movies can get away with the shit and the piss. And then he says, please do. I don't know what I'm behind on chat. What are you saying, please do too? Oh, probably about doing a behind the scenes of my editing reviews. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I'll let you guys in on a secret here. I generally don't. I generally like to surprise you guys with reviews that are coming up. But the Monday after this coming Monday, I'm going to be uploading the last review that I shot last year, which is a review of the Elephant Man movie in the Criterion Blu-ray. And editing that was interesting because it's the very first movie review. I've been doing this for almost 10 years. Well, more if you count stuff that I did when I was a teenager and 12 and stuff. You can watch that on this channel as well. It's the first review I did where I actually choked up and got teary and tried to, I was talking about the end of the movie, choked up and was becoming visibly, you know, emotionally moved about the movie. And at first I was like, God, I don't know, you know, this channel is supposed to be about fun and all this and that. But when I was at first, I thought about reshooting the end and trying to get through that, you know, describing the last part of the movie without crying. But when I actually was looking at the footage, I'm like, you know what, this is actually really cool. And I cut out the cringy bits and I'm like, you know what, this is, you know, leaving this in is just, it's humanity, you know, so I decided to leave, you know, me becoming emotionally and tearful talking about the end of Elephant Man in the review. So that was kind of fun. So you guys get to see that a week from this coming Monday, if you want to. So, because that's the first time I'd actually seen the review since I shot it, you know, played back, and it wasn't as bad as I thought. There were some cringy bits that I cut out where I'm like trying to laugh through the tears, and it's just like, yeah, I'll get rid of that. But the rest of this stuff is okay. So I left it in because before I watched the footage, I was gonna, like I say, I was thinking about trying to reshoot the end where I talk about it and try not to start getting all teary, but there you go. Fake Shemp says, yeah, Zombie is phenomenally good. I love the super attractive nurse. I wish she had a longer part, or even had her coming back as a zombie. Isn't that goofy how this super hot chick has such a small role, and then you got to look at Mia Farrow's sister the whole movie? Well, what about that other chick who's, you know, who goes along with the guy, you know, who on the boat they rent, you know, to topless scuba dive or snorkel dive, or I think she's scuba diving. She's pretty good too, but she's not quite as model-y-ish as that nurse chick. The boat can leave now. Tell the crew. Yeah, her coming back as a zombie would have been fun. Gary Page asks, Nate, would you direct a film again? Yeah, I would. And incidentally, something I thought of, you guys can, if you guys want to see one of my kind of, it's a short movies that I did. It's intentionally bad. It's like inspired by Don't Go in the Woods that I did back I shot it in 04 and didn't finish it until 05. But if you go look at my review for what the hell review is it in? I think it's in my review of Invasion from Inner Earth, the Bill Rebane movie. I talk about that movie in it, and I've subsequently uploaded that short which is called Redwoods, to YouTube, and I put a link to it in the description of that movie review. God, that was really confusing. But if you go and look at my review for the movie Invasion from Inner Earth, in the description, you can see the link to my short movie by the name of Redwoods, which is intentionally bad movie. It's inspired by the movie Don't Go in the Woods, if anyone has seen that. And I've since done a movie, a short, that I guess I can tell you guys where to see it. I think when the hell was it? 2017, entitled Ninja Love, which you can see on YouTube if you type Ninja Love and Anything Goes Theater. It's anything, and then it's just one G. So it's Anything OES Theater. It's all one word if you want to go check out Ninja Love on another channel of mine. But I should really, who asked that question? Oh, okay, Gary. Yeah, I can probably get you the info to the feature. I should really get some of you guys that I know and trust the info to watch my my feature length movie that's nearly 3 hours long that I did in 2008 and 2009. You guys that I know, that I've known for a while and trust, I should feel safe giving you the link to that movie. Currently, you can see, or I currently have the first half of that up, but I'm just thinking. I recently got a guy from Germany who is interested in buying the DVD, but because the shipping is just so crazy to ship, out of the United States these days, I was thinking of just putting the second half of the movie up for people to view, because the first half's already up. So that way people who are, international can just see it for free. Unfortunately, because it's on YouTube, I had to cut the boobies out. But you're still seeing most of the movie. But you can check out my most recent short that I did, Ninja Love. If you guys can't find it, leave a comment after the show's done, and I'll reply with the link to it, or maybe to both. I should probably just put both links in the description of this show when it's done. Probably makes the most sense. But yeah. But to be honest, I get my filming and editing chops fulfilled just by doing movie reviews. I'm not opposed to doing stuff in the future. It's just the drive is not there like it used to be. And it's such a pain in the ass. That movie that I did, my own first and only feature that's nearly 3 hours long, took 2 summers to do and was a pain in the ass. I mean, these movies, they don't just film themselves, and people don't just show up and knock at your door wanting to do it. You have to freaking, cast every single person. Then you have to do oh my God, everyone has to be able to film at the same time and blah, 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 blah. It's such a pain in the ass. But what I'll probably do in the coming days is like Will and Gary, and some of you others who might be interested in seeing it, I can send you the link to the website where you can watch the first half of my feature. And I think sometime within the week here, I'm going to get the second half of it up, so you can see the whole thing minus the topless booby shots. Oh, I'm probably way behind on chat now. I've got another hitchhiker. Thank you very much. Okay, so we've probably got like 25 minutes of show left. I'm already kind of getting dead. Where am I? Oh, okay. Will Powell says, I'd watch it, man. Okay, well, like I say, you guys can go check out Redwoods, a short from '05 that I did, and Ninja Love, a short from 2017 that I did right now, if you guys can find them. There's also a video of a funny drive-in movie theater clip on that channel that Redwoods is on as well. So some other funny stuff for you guys. Will Powell says the key to edit music is to getting it sounding good enough through all devices. I've made the mistake many times of getting a great mix, but it only sounds good through the speakers I edited on. That's a good point. Same thing to a certain extent with the sound mixing of, the videos I do. But I don't let it. I realize there's so many different things people are going to listen through that I just don't. I mean, when you're doing music and it's audio only, I can understand obsessing more about it. But with my movies, I'm more concerned about the image, I guess. Fake Shump says, Iron, not sure if you've seen Zombie 3, but rewatched that one last week. And dang, that's some super fast zombies. I think even faster than 28 Days Later. Yeah, I never seen that one myself, because anyone who doesn't know, I think in America, Zombie was called Zombie 2 because how did it go? Because in Italy, Dawn of the Dead was called Zombie, something like that. So Zombie 3 must actually be Zombie 2. It's really confusing, and being so, 2.5 hours into the show, my brain is having a hard time even talking. So thanks for the heads up there. Will Powell says, now I check through the TV, the car, CD players, through good headphones, bad headphones, Bluetooth speakers. That's interesting. So you'll listen to a song through as many things as you can, different things. That's an interesting. I can see how that can drive you crazy. That's interesting. That is interesting. Iron Rooster says, I have a box set from the early 2000s that has Zombie 3, 4, 5 in it. I'm going to watch it soon. Okay, cool. Like I say, I haven't seen anything past just Zombie, which is, I think, known as Zombie 2 in America. Or no, it's Zombie in America, and I think it's known as Zombie 2 in Italy because Dawn of the Dead is Zombie in Italy. That's how it goes, I think. Fake Shump says, and I love when so many metalheads upload them shredding guitar of the zombie theme or any Fulci music. Oh, yeah, that's fun. Will Powell says, the irony is you send it to people to listen to, and most of the time listen through the crappy built-in phone speaker. That drives me nuts. Ha ha, but what can you do? Oh, my God. How pathetic is that? Yeah, it's like the same thing as like vertical video. It's worse than that. That I can see that being infuriating. Holy shit. Will Powell says, I need to watch this zombie movie. I'm slightly confused with it. Isn't it a sequel to something? Is it Italian but American actors? Yeah, Italian movies did a lot of this stuff in the late 70s, early 80s, where they filmed with American actors, and actually the main guy's like a British guy, and Mia Farrow's sister, and so like some of the actors are actually probably Italian, but like some of them are American, and yeah, Zombie is known as Zombie in America, but also known as Zombie 2 in Italy because I think Dawn of the Dead was titled Zombie in Italy, so that's how it works. It's if you just type Zombie. It's got the cover of the. You'll figure it out if you just type zombie. It's got that famous shot of the zombie on the cover. It's like, we're going to eat you or whatever on the poster. Fake Shump says, dude, Nate, you won't believe this, but the new Zombie Blu-ray 3D disc with the 3D cover art sold new for $17 at Hamilton Books last year. Needless to say, it didn't last long. Oh, shit. I would have paid that price. Gosh darn it, mother effing. Will Powell says, please keep your emotion in, man. I thought about it after I filmed it. I'm like, this is supposed to be a fun, happy channel. And initially I wasn't going to include that. But when I cut it, when I was looking at the footage again, I just cut out some key, moments that make me cringe where I'm trying to laugh through the tears. But I'm like, this is actually kind of cool. And it just shows how human I am and can be, So there you go. I'm patting myself on the back. Fake Shump says, Nate, seriously, Mia Farrow's sister, what were they thinking? Yeah, she looks just like her too. Well, obviously they couldn't get Mia Farrow. Yeah, can you imagine Mia Farrow? You loved her in Rosemary's Baby. Now watch her in Zombie. I Am Rooster says, Ravenous is a movie from 1999 that often gets overlooked. It has a great soundtrack. Okay, another suggestion of a movie to check out. Fake Shemp says, maybe someone can one day deep fake the super hot nurse as the lead and Mia's sister as the nurse. That's possible. The thing is, has anyone ever deep faked a body? Like, you'd have to deep fake her naked the whole movie too while you're at it. Don't just replace the face, replace the body with the naked body of the nurse. That'd be fun. Then while we're at it, every movie that Jennifer Connelly's in been, in post Rocketeer and Career Opportunities, we just post that. We can deep fake that version of Jennifer Connelly in every movie she's been in after that, because that is my Jennifer Connelly look. Gary Page says Arrow Video are putting out a Bill Rebane Weird Wisconsin Blu-ray collection. Yeah, I mentioned that early in the show, and that's kind of exciting, although it's really a bummer that it doesn't have a couple of my favorite movies of his, which are Capture of Bigfoot and Rana, the Legend of Shadow Lake on there, which is a bummer. I briefly knew Bill Rebane, and he told me that he sold the negative of Rana to Troma. So Troma, I think from what I understand, still own the rights in the negative to Rana, the Legend of Shadow Lake, and have put it out as Croaked, the frog monster from hell or something like that. But if Rana had been in that collection with the new transfer, I would have been all over that. But I'm excited about the new transfer of Invasion from Inner Earth and Alpha Incident. I don't think anything else in that collection I've ever even seen before. But I'm actually probably going to get that collection because I'm interested in the new scans and just seeing all Bill Rebane interviews and stuff. But thank you, Gary Page, for pointing that out. Gary Page says, Zombie Flesh Eaters in the UK, a.k.a. Zombie. God, it gets all kinds of titles for Zombie. Will Powell says, Mia's sister is Prudence, right? I don't think her first name is Prudence unless she's got more than one sister. I don't think that's the name of the chick in Zombie. He says John Lennon wrote a song about her called Dear Prudence. I can't remember right now. I don't think it's Prudence. Will Powell says, I've written a few songs where I put in lyrics that were very personal and felt embarrassed because my crushes might figure out I was talking about them. Ha ha, so cheesy. Oh, come on. That's not cheesy. That's being real and being yourself. Fake Shemp says, at will. I didn't know that. Yeah, I don't think the chick from Zombie is Prudence, though. I can't think of her name. Fake Shemp says, Nate, the nurse didn't even show any skin in Zombie, just her face was a knockout. Oh, I thought you were talking about the chick who dies with the... Oh, I guess we're talking about a different nurse then. I thought we were talking about, it wasn't the nurse. It was the guy's... Whoever was living with the guy, the doctor, who takes a shower and dies with the splinters. So we're talking about a completely different woman. Okay. Thought we were talking about but that's, in retrospect, that's not the nurse. I think it's just the guy's girlfriend or wife or something that gets naked in the shower and dies with the splinter of wood in her eye. So you're talking about was it talking about one of those, the the nurse that lives to the end and dies. Okay. I thought you were talking about the hot chick who was naked. Okay. All right, guys, we've got about 16, well, maybe 15 and a half minutes left. I am just getting dead where I can't even, getting close, pushing 3 hours here where I can't even really think much anymore. So we're going to be ending it around the 3 hour mark in about 15 minutes just to let everyone know. Will Powell says, are we fans of classic disaster movies like The Towering Inferno and The Poseidon Adventure? And he says, I dig them. I mean, kind of. That movie that I made that's nearly 3 hours long was kind of, I was like, you know what? No one's ever really done a slasher movie in the vein of like a disaster movie from the 70s, and where it's kind of an epic movie where there's all kinds of different characters and stuff. So when I did my feature length slasher movie, I kind of modeled it structurally over or disaster movies, in the sense of there's so many characters and so much going on, like a disaster movie meets slasher genre. So, because one thing I always liked about disaster movies is how they are just so epic. There's just so many characters and so much going on, and they're kind of longer running time and stuff. And I'm like, what if you took a disaster movie, but the structure but made it a slasher movie? So that's what I did with my feature length slasher movie. But I'm not a big fan of disaster movies. There's a time for them, but another one is Earthquake. But I'm not the biggest fan of disaster movies. But they can be fun, especially if they're from the 70s and stuff. Oh, Gary Page asks, are you going to sing us out? Yeah, I could do that since Gary Page and Fake Shemp are here. I can do the Ballad of Harry Warden. I got the lyrics up for that. Just a few weeks late, but that's okay. Fake Shemp says, yeah, same here, Nate. I got to go too. Thanks for today's show. Later, guys. Okay, well, maybe Fake Shemp won't hear it then. But Gary Page will if he's still here. I don't know if I said it, and I don't know if you're still here to hear it, but thank you for showing up, Fake Shemp. Oh, it sounds like he's here. Okay, do you want me to sing it now then? Do you have to go now, Fake Shemp? I can sing it now. I guess we're getting close to ending time anyway. Will Powell says disaster movies are kind of like horror movies in a way. I love suspense, so I always like the build up to disaster happening. Well, that makes sense. Okay, well, I might as well sing it now, so Fake Shemp and anyone else who wants to bail can do so. My voice is just so raspy talking for so long. Let me key up the lyrics here. All right. Oh, okay. Fake Shemp says, I've got you playing, but I'm cooking. All right. Let me key up the lyrics here. And bear with me here. I mean, I don't expect anyone to think this is actually any kind of decent singing when you don't have any music, accompaniment. And I have a hard time, just be warned, I have a hard time with getting the notes right on this one without any musical accompaniment going on. So I'll do my best. I'll respond to any comments while I'm reading or while I'm singing after the song is done. Okay, make sure the mic is unmuted. Okay, we should be good. Okay, ready? Whoops, this is the wrong one. Here we go. Once upon a time, on a sad Valentine, in a place known as Hanniger Mine. See, a legend began. Every woman and man would always remember the time. And those who remain were never the same. You could see the fear in their eyes. Once every year, As the 14th draws near, there's a hush all over the town. For the legend, they say, on a Valentine's Day is a curse that'll live on and on. And no one will know, as the years come and go, of the horror from long time ago. 20 years came and went, and everyone spent the 14th in quiet regret. And those still alive know the secret survives in the darkness that looms in the night. For the legend, they say, on a Valentine's Day is a curse that'll live on and on. And no one will know, as the years come and go, of the horror from long time ago. In this little town, when the 14th comes round, there's a silence and fear in the air. Remember the morn that the legend was born. All the shock and the horror was there. For the legend, they say, on a Valentine's Day is a curse that'll live on and on. And no one will know, as the years come and go, of the horror from long time ago. And no one will know, as the years come and go, of the horror from long time ago. I mean, that one's it's really long. So Iron Rooster says Ravenous has some great actors in it, Robert Carlyle and Guy Pearce. I'm not a fan of many 90s movies, but this one is an exception. It's like a cannibal horror western, laugh out loud. Yeah, tons of comments. Huh. Well, I'm kind of not too much of a fan of late 90s movies either, but oh, okay. So, he means, yeah, tons of comments. My brain would be fried. Yeah, mine gets fried by this maybe 2.5 hours into it too. Will Powell says, nice, sweet voice there, Nate. Yeah, I mean, it would be better with instrumentation. The beginning there was a little hard, a little harsh. Mr. Tightwhite is being honest. He says, my dog just ran off when he heard you singing. Okay, well, to each his own. Fake Shemp says, oh man, I've got to totally watch My Bloody Valentine tonight now. That was sweet, Nate. Yeah, it was not perfect, but I did my best. Mr. Tightwhite is crying tears of laughter. I never said I was a singer, but we do what we do what we can. I mean, it'd sound better with instrumentation. I mean, when you're just doing it to know nothing at all, and all that's there is your voice. I mean, that's the test of all tests. Will Powell says, got to go now, mate. You take care, my friend, and I'd be very interested in seeing your directed movie. Catch you later. Yeah, I'll send you the info on it. I think I can trust you, Will. Gary Page says, well done, Nate. Yeah, thank you very much. Like I say, I screwed up the beginning, but I'll probably do it again in the future and make Mr. Tightwhite's dog suffer more and try to do it better. But some of the notes are hard to hit when you don't have any instrumentation to sing along with. Like if I sung along with the movie at the end credits, it'd be a lot better. Iron Rooster says a lot better singing than I could do. Laugh out loud. Well, thank you. Yeah, I don't pretend that I have a great singing voice. I just have a passion for these goofy songs in these horror movies. So it's kind of just become a thing in the show as of late. Where one of the shows I introed with the Madman Mars song, and people liked it, so it became kind of a thing. So about 6 minutes left, you guys, as my brain is just dead. Oh, Buster Brown, Austin, you showed up again right when the show's going to end, but you can listen to the thing from the beginning after it processes. What's he say? Austin says, I watched Deep Star 6 Blu-ray, not bad, but could have used a new 2K, 4K remaster. Yeah, I've yet to review that recent release. It's my opinion when I compare it to the previous DVD that's been out for decades that the audio is pitched slightly up, unless of course the audio on that DVD was pitched slightly down. It's hard to tell which one is correct. Yeah, Austin, you just caught the very end of the pardon me show. I'm gonna be out of here in 5 minutes. I've been doing this for 3 hours and my brain's mush. It's mush. Did you hear that? That was my neck. I don't know. I think this mic picked it up. Gary Page says, "Okay, I'll go next. Okay, I'll go next week. I have to be here at 6 p.m. my time. See you." Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, we sprung ahead an hour last weekend, so sorry about that. Just search Central Time and to find out what the time is. I don't know. It's confusing. Sorry about that. You can listen to the first half of the first hour of the show after the fact, I guess. I guess I should have made a video about that, but it's hard to know who and what parts of the world is springing forward and who's not, and it's really confusing. I hate to bail on 8 listeners, but I'm gonna. Now that I scared Mr. Tight White's dog, I think my duty is done. Yeah, sorry about the confusion, Gary, with the start time. Hopefully we can figure it out from here on moving forward. Austin says, I heard the original DVD of Deep Star really sucked, laugh out loud. Yeah, I mean, it was a quote unquote full frame. But that movie apparently is one of those movies shot in Super 35 where the full frame you're actually seeing more on the top and bottom than you do on the widescreen version. So we can talk about it more next week if you show up on time, my man. I mean, the DVD did the job done for decades for me. It wasn't that big a deal back when I was in the standard definition days anyway on a tube TV. But, I guess you live with what you got when you got it, I guess. All right, Austin, I'm going to be ending in a couple minutes just to let you know, but you can listen to the whole 3 hours after its processes. Austin says full screen DVDs were a disgrace, laugh out loud. Like I say, that one wasn't as bad because with the Super 35 situation, it wasn't so much of a crop as like a, Panavision movie like Rocketeer or something where you're only seeing half of the screen. But I agree with it in regards to, that kind of situation where you're only seeing half of the screen on your full screen DVD. All right, everyone. Winding down. Thanks everyone for showing up. Definitely a better turnout this week than last week, so that's appreciated. And no one will know as the years come and go of the horror from long time ago. See you next week, everyone. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for listening. All right, Iron Rooster, he says, later I will try to show up to next week's show. Appreciate that. Thank you for chatting this week. Austin, we'll continue. He's trying to get me to stay, I think. We'll continue this next week if you want to show up on time. He says, although most Laserdiscs were full screen, I guess. All right. Thanks, everyone, for showing up. I'm dead. Gotta end it. See you next week.